Bolivar and Swell-Selmer. 72 in Covington, Alamo, 74 starting off here in Memphis, 73 in West Memphis. So for today, up to 84. So we're going to tag on about another 10 degrees here. Variably cloudy skies to mostly cloudy. Scattered downpours. I think the best chances for rain and storms will probably come in here as we head towards the latter half of the morning into the afternoon hours. Again, some scattered downpours. It won't be for everybody. Some of you will get away with today with no major problems here across the area. But with that being said, there's still a risk that we could see a strong storm or two to develop this afternoon. We're going to highlight today for that potential. Again, strong wind and hail look to be the primary issue, but wherever you get some downpours, yeah, the torrential rain and the frequent lightning to come along with it as well between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. today. Here's a look at our first alert futurecast. And again, you got the showers and thunderstorms down to the south, showers and storms to the north, and even a few sporadic downpours across portions of northeastern Arkansas. I think we still have some opportunity for showers and storms to bubble up here late morning, early afternoon. Scattered downpours become a bit more prevalent near the front as we get closer to the late morning, early afternoon. And again, mainly across West Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi, as the front swings southward. We finally cleared things out after sunset. I think we're in decent shape. Skies clear out, some zones of fog by early Tuesday morning. Morning 60s will warm up into the middle 80s. Tons of sunshine around. Keep it going throughout much of the day on Wednesday after a few passing clouds. Temperatures warming up into the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees coming up on Wednesday afternoon. That is also coming along with a drop in humidity behind the front swinging through the area. So again, there's your front swinging through and eventually ushering in the drier air. It'll take us into the start of your day tomorrow. Keep in mind, again, there will be some zones of fog that could slow you down along your morning travels in a few spots here tomorrow. Of course, stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Embedded in that, let it be known that, yeah, our humidity levels come down a little bit as we head through the course of the next couple of days. So our 86 tomorrow only feels like 87. 88 on Wednesday feels like 90. 88 on Thursday feels like 93. And the upper 80s through the weekend feel like the middle and upper 90s. And that comes by way of that muggier air filtering into the area for the Father's Day weekend. And yes, even more chances for scattered downpours that will take us into the weekend. Today, again, still highlighting that potential for a few stronger storms. The high 84. Drier, quieter early tomorrow morning. We'll start off with temperatures in the 60s to the mid 80s. We go upper 80s close to 90 on Wednesday. I think Thursday, adding in some more clouds, maybe a spotty downpour in the afternoon. Then as we head towards Friday, Saturday, Sunday, better chances for rain and storms coming back into the fold. Not going to be raining all day long. These will be more so your scattered afternoon downpours on a daily basis. That will continue even into early next week. We'll see the clouds clearing and a bit more sunshine pushing the numbers up to the upper 80s to near 90 degrees by the time we head towards mid next week. But again, Andrew, we got to get through today's scattered activity. I don't think everybody will see wet weather. I don't even think that everybody will see severe weather here today. You know, obviously from the standpoint that we just don't have the same coverage as what we saw back Saturday morning, but there is obviously rain opportunities that are coming back into play. That may slow you down along some of your commutes this afternoon, but even with that being said, I think the vast majority of the rain and storms probably done before like 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. And even with that being said, not everybody will see wet weather.
Let me ask you this, Patrick, because, you know, we had some severe storms on Saturday that really disrupted a lot of activities. I know it's a few days out. Any idea if these storms on this weekend coming up are as severe?
You know, it's still a little early on that. I think that, you know, given the time frame of the year and given enough energy in the atmosphere, I mean, any storm could become strong or severe. It doesn't necessarily have to be a consolidated system. What we had come through here on Saturday was more of a consolidated system coming through here. This is going to be more so your typical variety showers and thunderstorms that can get close to severe limits during that time frame. So we'll watch it, you know, but it's just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. It is that time of the year where we just have any day a chance for a strong storm or two. It may not be a risk that's necessarily denoted. You may just have a random severe thunderstorm that pops up there with the daytime heating. Of course, when you have it in the middle and upper 80s each day, I mean, it's not hard to be able to do that given the energy.
All right, meteorologist Patrick Ellis starting us off on a Monday. Patrick, thank you.
No problem.
And you can see another shot from our High Five camera in downtown Memphis, where it is a balmy 73 degrees. Again, a lot of humidity. It is already warm here at 7 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday. We'll be checking in with our forecast all morning long on Action News 5's digital desk. Right now, I want to get to one of our top stories here on Action News 5, and it happened to deal with what had happened at Cache 42, a restaurant bar, over the weekend. Another act of violence that happened outside of this restaurant and bar. Action News 5's Stephanie Douglas has the latest on that investigation.
That's correct. This marks the second shooting Shelby County deputies are investigating outside of Cache 42 on Hacks Cross Road. According to the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, deputies responded to a shooting call just after 10 p.m. Saturday during the restaurant's operating hours. They learned 3 people were shot, including a teenager, who were all rushed to the hospital. 2 of the victims' injuries were non-life-threatening. The third victim, a teenager, later died from his injuries. Deputies have not released suspect information or what could have led to the shooting. This is the second shooting outside the restaurant in 2025. A man was shot and injured there on New Year's Day. Now, the Shelby County Sheriff's Office says this is an ongoing homicide investigation, but if you know any information, you're encouraged to contact the Sheriff's Department or Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. Reporting, I'm Stephanie Douglas, Action News 5.
Okay, and so that is Stephanie Douglas reporting for us here on Action News 5's digital desk. Coming up, we have an ambitious and busy schedule for you. At 8:45, we're going to be talking with our friend Shelby Smith. She is the Senior Manager of Marketing and Communications with the Overton Park Shell, and she's going to be telling us about some upcoming concerts that you can check out for free at the Overton Park Shell this week and this weekend. Also, we're going to be talking with a contestant on NBC's brand new show. It's called Destination X. It's a competitive series, and it has contestants asking, where the X are we? So we're going to be talking with Peter Weber. He is a contestant on the digital desk. We're going to be talking with him a little bit after 10 o'clock. And then there is a faculty member at the University of Memphis School of Music who is a trombonist on the Disney soundtrack for Lilo and Stitch. That remake is out in theaters right now. We're going to be talking with Dr. Martin McCain later this morning on Action News 5's digital desk. That is coming up at 10:30. But right now, I want to go back outside to our High Five camera. As you can see there, downtown Memphis. This is another look at our High Five camera in Midtown Memphis, where it is, again, 74 degrees, 10 minutes after 7. Let's take a quick break. 60 seconds back on Action News 5's digital desk. Morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. We are always trying to have optimal health, especially this summer where we're trying to get in shape. We're trying to be optimally healthy, both mentally, physically, nutrition-wise. And one of the things that we all have to keep in mind is that your oral health, your mouth health has to be optimal as well if you want to lead a healthy life. And joining me right now on the Action News 5 digital desk, Dr. Kevin Reed, a family dentist, to talk a little bit more about the importance of oral health. And Kevin, good morning to you. Let's talk a little bit about why the health of your mouth is so important to your overall health. Good morning.
Yes, Andrew, thank you. Listen, we all know about how important it is to have our teeth, right? We love our smiles. But what they've come up with in the last 10 to 15 years is the link between your teeth, your gums, and the blood supply that's going to your oral cavities and the rest of your body. And what we know, what they've proven, is that periodontal disease, which is over 70% of America after, of the world really, after 40 has periodontal disease. We know periodontal disease is a causal agent, a causal factor of some pretty serious systemic problems, such as heart disease, diabetes, stroke, the potential for strokes, Alzheimer's even, and preterm labor. That's just to name a few.
Yeah, there's no question that that kind of situation where you do not take care of your mouth and your body overall suffers. There's no question about it. So let's talk about some fundamental ways, Kevin, because we have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning on the digital desk. I know that your family practice has been in business now for 75 years. So where can people start to really kind of take care of their health orally when it comes to not only seeing a dentist, of course, but in between those dentist visits?
Well, so we don't just blow by that, though. Obviously, quote, seeing the dentist, but coming to a dentist where you get a comprehensive exam, where they are checking the amount of bleeding in your mouth, they're checking for your cavities. That is, and you're getting professional help from the hygienist and the dentist. That is like the number one step. And then they're going to help you tailor your home care, which is going to be brushing. Nowadays, there's some excellent electric brushes. Oral-B makes one, Sonicare makes one. They're fantastic. In addition to the manual brushing, which is when you brush your teeth, what we want you to know is think that you're brushing your gums. If you brush your gums, your teeth will get cleaned. And that is the most important factor in your mouth is the gums, the periodontal, which is gums. And then, of course, obviously people know about flossing. The electric brushes help with that for those that slack a little bit on flossing, but we recommend flossing. And the third adjunct that we recommend is a water pick. And then the amount of times that you come back to the dentist is really important, and that would be your maintenance care. Some people it's 3 months, some people it's 4 months. A healthy periodontal situation would be 6 months.
Let's talk about certain foods that you see in your practice that get people in trouble when it comes to their mouth, the oral care, that sort of thing.
Well, here is a very simple rule that we preach every day in our practice and have for 30 years. They've done studies about the amount of sugar that is retained in your saliva. And so let's be clear about one essential rule, and that is cavities can only start by sugar. So every time I have something with sugar, a lot of times it's liquid. It could be my coffee. It could be the morning Coke. That's not a problem if you have it in 30 minutes. The problem is every time you sip a drink that has sugar or eat a food that has sugar or a food that is a carbohydrate that can turn to sugar, every time you do that, your saliva retains enough sugar for 30 minutes to cause decay. So then when you put on top of that whatever your genetic makeup is, if you happen to have hard teeth, that may not be as big a factor. But if you've got softer teeth, that's a huge factor. So sugar is the number one element. We call it the 30-minute rule. Just remember, every time you have sugar in any form, it's a 30-minute rule. It's going to be in there for 30 minutes. So if you do that all day, you're bathing your teeth. And that is really the number one thing, is sugar. Now, I tell our patients, don't worry about your meals. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, have sugar. It's not a problem because what do we know? Even if you don't brush, now if you went and brushed, it would be gone, right? But if you don't brush right after the meal, we know it's going to be gone in 30 minutes. So the number one way to take care of your teeth is regular visits, but eliminate sugar between meals. You can use fake sugar. I'm not going to speak to whether or not fake sugar causes other problems. That's beyond my expertise. But fake sugar does not cause decay.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. Sugar causing cavities, that's huge, Kevin. Thank you. What about oral cancer, and how prevalent is it? Ways to prevent it, that sort of thing.
Again, we go back to the same theme. That is one of the most important things we're going to do in your checkups. Your initial checkup, your follow-up maintenance checkups, we're going to be checking, and the best way to check for oral cancer is visually. And we do palpate and we look at the tongue and different areas that you can't see. But visually is the number one way. There are other devices out there that can shine a light, that can show areas of concern. Certainly, if we see an area of concern, we send you to an oral surgeon and they do biopsies. You want to eliminate things that potentially cause cancer. And let's talk about such as smokeless tobacco, such as regular smoking, cigars, cigarettes, that sort of thing. Let's go to the prevalence of oral cancer. It is on the rise. It has become a very significant health risk. I've been doing this 43 years. I know. I only look like I've been doing it 35, but I've been doing this 43 years, and the amount of cancer that we saw 40 years ago was nothing compared to the amount that we see now and send into people. Roughly 60,000 new cases in the United States occur every year. That's a lot. So oral cancer, big, big concern.
Where do people make the biggest mistakes, Kevin?
You know, I think it gets back to regular care. I think the biggest mistakes are the perception that if I, as an individual, look in my mouth and I don't see anything and I don't feel anything, that everything must be okay. Unfortunately, by the time we see or feel, it's probably gotten to a point that now we're in more serious problems such as root canals, crowns, or extractions. So I think they get in the mistake of not doing the daily maintenance and not doing the however much you need to do during the year, 1, 2, 3, or 4 visits with a dentist. I think that's the biggest mistakes, and too much sugar. People don't understand about sugar. You know, again, I go back to that. People would say, well, Doc, I only have 1 Coke a day. I go, that's fine. How long does it take you to drink your Coke? Well, I keep it on my desk and I have it all day long. So it's not quantity, it's frequency. And so I think sugar, I think lack of daily care, I think lack of regular maintenance visits with your dentist. That's the 3 big areas.
That's great. I appreciate that. 3 big bullet points right there. Anything else before we let you go, Kevin? This has been very informative for our viewers.
Well, I would just encourage you to find a dentist, Google them. We've got a fun documentary you can see about our practice, but there's 8,000 dentists in Shelby County, and they're great. And so find a dentist, find a dental home that fits you. Maybe it fits your insurance, whatever it needs to be for you to be able to use that plan. And let's go there. Let's let them guide you in your personal home care. And I think that's where you go. I think that's what you do.
All right. I appreciate it. Dr. Kevin Reed with Reed
one more
Family
thing.
Dentistry.
One more.
Yeah.
One more thing, Andrew.
Okay.
I did forget. And I don't know where I stand on this, but I want to bring it up. One of the things that's in the news right now is taking out fluoride from the water. And I didn't mention fluoride. I should be a dentist. I should say absolutely don't do that. What I'm going to tell you is after 18 to 20 years of age, fluoride in the water does nothing for your teeth. It does nothing for mature enamel. It's for children, okay? So there could be some argument. Maybe there's some scientific evidence that we didn't used to have, and maybe there's some reason why that could sometimes happen in communities. But what is there, what we've been using for 20 years, is we put fluoride on your teeth now, even as adults, and it's 22,000 parts per million, and it actually incorporates and strengthens the enamel. We didn't used to have that until about 15 or 20 years ago. So we do treat adult teeth with fluoride, and that's very important for hardening the teeth. In the water, great, very important for children. In the toothpaste, it's really insignificant. 80 to 100 parts per million does nothing really in the toothpaste. So that's important, fluoride.
Okay, all right. Well, you got that in there, Dr. Kevin Reed. We appreciate your time. Thanks
you.
for explaining how important oral care is to our overall health, where people make mistakes, what people can do, just simple, easy steps to live a optimal, healthy life. We appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Certainly a great conversation there with Kevin Reed there. Been in business now for over 40 years. Certainly a wealth of knowledge there. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, the Daily Memphian has a brand new reporter, but she's not new to us. We are talking with our friend Ellen Chamberlain, joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Now a food reporter with the Daily Memphian. Ellen, it's been a minute. How are you doing?
Hi, Andrew. It has been a minute. I'm so happy to see you again. I felt like, should I do a reveal, like I'm new or something? But it's great to be back. You're absolutely right. I am still covering all of the amazing food here in the city now at the Daily Memphian, of course, dailymemphian.com, or if you've downloaded the app to your smartphone, you can catch our stories every single day. And so I'd love to tell you a little bit about what I've got going on there since I've actually ran away to Detroit to go see my family for a couple of weeks. But then since I came back to Memphis and got to get
So
re-immersed into the food scene.
Yeah, like you've been in Memphis not a year yet, but you're close, right?
I am close. It'll be celebrate my 1-year anniversary in August.
Awesome. Okay, so well, we're going to look forward to celebrating that with you, and I'm sure some great food as well. So let's talk about some of the things that you got going on at the Daily Memphian as the food reporter there.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, the first thing is I will be sending over a link because I'm sure some folks don't know who I am, and that's absolutely fine. I did a little introductory story over at the Daily Memphian just so folks can learn a little bit about me. If you heard just now, I am from Detroit. I've lived all over. I've absorbed food from all over, a ghostwriter and broadcast journalist. So I've been able to write several cookbooks, and somehow I managed to make my way to one of the best food cities in these United States. So I'm very excited to be here with you. This week over at the Daily Memphian, we are talking about food files. That's a weekly staple that we publish over there. This week we are talking about Bar Limina. It's over there in the Edge District. They had a really cool campaign to fundraise and open. They are open now. Bar Limina is open and ready to accept folks. I would recommend a reservation online, but of course, you can always just pop in. Sophia Surrett is also letting us know about some business changes happening over at Grime City Brewing. And they're actually not the only brewery in town that is kind of changing the way that they are making their wholesale products available, or in this case, unavailable. That's usually something to do with distributors and other things in town, but that's not to say that you can't still get your favorite beers from Grime City Brewing. That is a wholesale decision that was made on their behalf. For details, check out Food Files. Then we also had a really sweet and inspiring story, double entendre, because it's about a local candy maker. Now, if you're like me, you live for all things caramel. I love it. I love it, and especially when it's handmade, homemade. And there is a man right here in Shelby County, Jared Smith, who has been making candy through Shotwell Candy Company. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but he's, like many of us over these last few years, especially since COVID, business has taken a little bit of a hit. Demands are different these days. So we've got a really beautiful story about why he got into this business in the first place, what makes it so important for him, especially after all of these years, to still be in the kitchen making these candies by hand. That thermometer is inside his copper pots. So we learn more about him and his journey. The candies are made here locally, but they're available everywhere. So if you'd love to, maybe send a sweet package to someone you love who's not in Memphis anymore, consider that. And then honestly, I think the most fun story that came out this week, it's so funny to me, is All Day Breakfast is back at the Barksdale. Are you aware of this yet, Andrew?
I am now.
It's the funniest thing to me. So if you're not familiar, the Barksdale's has been a staple on the Memphis restaurant scene for many, many years, honestly, for decades. There was a small kitchen fire. It did close for a bit. The good folks over from Bain Barbecue bought it and renovated it back to its former glory. It doesn't look all brand new, newfangled. It's the same Barksdale if you're used to going there. I remember visiting many, many years ago when my sister lived in Memphis. So the great thing about the Barksdale was that you could get breakfast there all day long. This is way before McDonald's came up with the idea and then abandoned it, right? So since the Barksdale has reopened, they started with a soft launch and then they opened to the general public. They got their breakfast menu and then their lunch menu. And it just took one Instagram user to go stand outside the restaurant with his sign saying, "Bring back all day breakfast." And you can't tell me that one man can't make a difference in this world because of that one person protest and a little bit of social media fodder too. All Day Breakfast is now back at the Barksdale. So don't feel the need to rush to get there first thing in the morning when they open, unless you're concerned about grabbing a seat because it is still a very popular space. But no matter what time you get there, eggs are available to you at the Barksdale. So I thought that was spectacular. And now I'm wondering how many other one-person protests are going to pop up around the city to make these changes that folks want to see from their favorite restaurants.
I love it. I love it. That's almost like, it's watching democracy in action there. You got one protest making the difference.
I love
one final thing before we let you go, Ellen. You're coming up on your year anniversary here in Memphis, and you said that you used to visit Memphis from time to time when you were younger. What has surprised you the most while being here? You're from Detroit, now you're in Memphis. You've been here almost a year. What surprised you the most?
Okay, the weather has surprised me very, very much. I was not ready for the wide range of weather that happens here in Memphis, and the people surprised me a lot. I think that when I used to visit the city, I was very insulated, a tourist, and I'd hang out with my sister and a few of her friends, and that would be it. I told Denny Riley over at the Majestic, we used to post up and park at her tables every Sunday, but I didn't speak to Memphians. I just talked to my sister, and that was about it. And then I got here. And boy, Memphis should be the poster child for Southern charm. Everybody here, and shouts out to Mississippi, we love you too. Everybody here is so kind and so welcoming and ready to share information. And you just don't get that in other parts of our country. And I love America, but Memphis reflects the best of it. And I'm really happy to be here.
No question about it. That's well said, well put. I always tell people, Memphis will give you that hug and they're waiting for a hug back. And if you hug back, you're good, you know? So, yeah. Well, listen, Ellen Chamberlain, we are hugging you virtually here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Glad to have you, no matter where you are. Commercial Appeal, Daily Memphian, glad to have you in the Daily Memphian, and always look forward to your reports here on the Digital Desk. Thank you.
A pleasure, Andrew. Have a beautiful weekend.
Okay. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, we have a treat for you. I am being joined by someone who is currently in the Wicked play right now. Glinda, she plays. She's also done a number of different off-Broadway shows, national tours, TV appearances. We are talking about a superstar here. Joining me on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, actor Laura Wyaz. On the Digital Desk, talking about a show that's coming to the Orpheum Theater where she is going to be the main event. Laura, good morning to you. How are things?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait to be there.
We can't wait to have you. So first off, tell us a little bit about yourself. You have this incredible storied career here where you've, done this great magical tour here. You've been on Broadway currently, you're off Broadway, you did TV shows, all kinds of appearances. Tell us a little bit about your background, where are you from, how you got started.
Sure, yeah. I'm originally from the Hartford, Connecticut area. And I always just sort of secretly loved singing and dancing. I was sort of shy though. And in high school, I joined the chorus and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I decided to go to college. I went to college in Winchester, Virginia at Shenandoah University. And then kind of right out of school, I started touring and I toured for a while and just kept building my resume and meeting people and doing off-Broadway shows and it's just been a wonderful diverse you sort of piecemeal everything together, right? You'll do a concert. I've done symphony orchestras. I've toured with Kenny Rogers, which was amazing. I'm currently in Kimberly Akimbo touring again. I've done Broadway, off-Broadway, some film. It's all just a very crafted career, which I like. It's always different, always changing. You have to be able to adapt and pivot to certain things. So yeah, it's definitely a lifestyle for sure.
That sounds amazing. I love it. I love hearing about it. It gives all of us people who are, especially we have thousands of people who watch, aspiring actors and actresses, the hope of just, making it big. And certainly you've done this. I want to talk a little bit about what's bringing you here to Memphis at the Orpheum in downtown. Kimberly Akimbo, tell me about that story and how you got involved.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm so excited to come to Memphis. So I saw the show only one time, and I was like, it impacted me so greatly. And that's the type of work as I get older that I like to do. I mean, I'm sure, I love doing funny, fluffy things, and this is very funny, but it impacted me so greatly that I thought it was important and the message is important. And I was like, I need to be a part of this show. It's so hilarious and it's heartbreaking and it's at the end, it's very hopeful. So it's this family in New Jersey in the 1990s before cell phones. And I played the mom, Patty, and my daughter, Kimberly, has a rare genetic disorder where she ages 4 to 5 times faster than, the average person. So in the show, she's 16, but she's played by an actress who's much older, which I also love. So she looks different, right? And she's in this new town. They had to move to Lodi, New Jersey. She doesn't quite know why. Her parents are dysfunctional. I'm sort of a narcissist, a little bit of a hypochondriac. Dad is a little wacky. She has a crazy Aunt Deborah. She's navigating all these things, going to a new school, her first crush, all while looking, not like the average teen. And it's really such a well-crafted story. It was a play first, and then they put music to it, and it's a genius show. So yeah, that's kind of had been my journey. I auditioned first for the understudy, and they were like, "Well, you're not really right for the understudy, but we'll keep you on file." And then, through a process of auditions, I ended up getting the part. So not the understudy, but the part.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. And this is going to be June 24th through 29th at the Orpheum in downtown Memphis. A lot of people may be thinking about ways to get involved in theater more often, and certainly we have some talent here all across Memphis. What would be the best advice for some of those aspiring actors and actresses out there that you'd give?
Well, I'll say this, you never know where your next job is going to come from. I got my equity card in a very strange way. I was doing a children's theater show, which, obviously nobody was coming to. We were playing in cafeterias. I was playing a mouse. And then, I was kind, and I always, try to have a positive attitude and a good work ethic. And then a year later, my friend, called me up, and he had done a Broadway show, and he said somebody's leaving and I think you'd be great for it. And he passed my name along to the director. I didn't have an agent. And, well, lo and behold, I ended up getting it. So you never know where your next job is going to come from. So I guess my point is, just keep working however you can and have a good attitude and be kind to the people that you work with, because, you may not be even the most talented person, but if you're great to work with, people will want to work with you. And then they'll recommend you for this thing, and then that'll snowball to the next thing. And that's kind of how these things happen. So just, keep doing it, no matter how big or small it is. If you love it, I think good things will happen if you stay with it.
That's great advice. I mean, hard work always pays off, and treat others the way you want to be treated, right? It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's really not. Really not.
I mean, seriously, that's great stuff. All right, so anything else you want to say to the audience members, to the people, if they come by and they check out Kimberly Akimbo later this month, what would you tell them?
I would tell them the ice skating is real. We really ice skate. A lot of people think it's a trick. Even when I saw it on Broadway, I said, "Oh, those are little wheels," but they're not. And I didn't know until I had my costume fitting. They said, "Oh, we need to fit you for ice skates, and you have to have ice skate practice." And I was like, "What?" So we're really ice skating, first of all, which I think is just a phenomenal, thing to be able to do on a Broadway stage. And yeah, just come with an open heart and ready for a good time, and maybe bring some tissues. There are some parts that will get you, but it's at the end of the show, it's like you just leave with this hopeful message. Do the thing, call the person, say what's on your mind, take the vacation. It's a very like empowering human story. So hope you enjoy it.
Awesome. Laura Wyaz joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Congratulations on such a successful career and what you're doing. Thank you for the advice for all of those aspiring actors and actresses out there across Memphis and the Mid-South. And good luck on this tour. And Kimberly Akimbo, June 24th through the 29th at the Orpheum. We appreciate your time, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. Let's check in with the Shelby County Sheriff's Office because they have a huge hiring event that they're working on right now. I'm joined on the Action News 5 digital desk right now by our friend Alexis Alameen. She is with the Sheriff's Office and is actually a deputy with corrections. Alexis, tell us about this hiring that's happening this summer and what the Sheriff's Office is looking for exactly. Good morning.
Good morning. We're currently hiring for a corrections deputy. You can start your career right after high school. You have to be 18 years of age, high school diploma, and a valid driver's license. The process is a 12-week process. It's also a paid training. We are currently offering a $5,000 sign-on and retention bonus.
Okay, and so give me an idea of is this a push to have more correctional officers because of a larger grand plan? Is there always been a deficit? Tell me why, because 330, it seems like a lot right now, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. We're currently pushing 300 plus corrections deputy in our facility due to the staff shortage that we currently have going on at the moment.
Okay, so let's reiterate a little bit of what you were saying just a minute ago, Alexis. You were saying starting pay would be above $48,000, top pay reaching out of over $62,000 after 5 years, and then there's a $5,000 signing bonus. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and talk to me about residency requirements, and is there a physical? I mean, what else is involved?
Okay, currently for this position, there is no residency requirement, and we're also the physical agility test is not required as well.
Okay, and so what do people need to do? Is there a certain job fair? Do they need to apply online? How's the process work?
We currently have a website. It's www.scsocareers.com. If they're interested in the position, they're going to go on there and apply for the open position.
Okay, so there's not necessarily a job fair or a place where people can meet in person and you guys do interviews on the spot, is there not?
No, sir, not at the moment.
Okay, tell me about college incentives, training opportunities, that sort of thing. I understand that's part of the package too, right?
Offer a college incentive. It is a 7.5% for pay, and we also you can have a bachelor's degree or master's degree, and you will get paid for that. The training, it is a 12 pay week, Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30, and that's about it.
Okay, and you know, a lot of people might be intimidated with the idea of being a corrections deputy, a corrections officer. Tell me a little bit about your job, how long you've done it, what's it like? Give me a day-to-day.
Okay, I've been with corrections for 8.5 years now. No day will never be the same. I actually enjoy what I do because I enjoy helping others. The different things that you see throughout the facilities. You have your good days, you have your bad days, but your good outweigh the bad. It's just another day.
Okay, all right. Well, give us that website one more time so if someone's interested, they can go and apply.
The website is www.scsocareers.com.
Okay, Alexis Alameen, we appreciate your time on the digital desk. Thank you, and best of luck to the Sheriff's Office on hiring more than 330 corrections officers this summer. We appreciate your time.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I am sure you saw this announcement live at the Garden and the concerts coming our way this summer. Let's bring in Olivia Wall. She's Director of Marketing and Communications for Memphis Botanic Garden. Quite a lineup this year, Olivia. Good morning. How are things?
Good morning. We are live from the concert lawn here, so super excited to be talking to you about our wonderful lineup we have for this summer.
Yeah, it looks great. So take me through it. How is it? How do you guys get these concerts, and what goes into creating a lineup like this?
Yeah, absolutely. Our live team works year round to ensure that every summer we offer epic concerts under the stars at the Radiance Amphitheater. We love what we do, and so we, work together and try to secure a lineup that is great for Memphis and for all of our wonderful concert goers.
Yeah, I see it here. So we got June 21st, Third Eye Blind. We have July 18th, Parker McCullen. August 23rd, Darius Rucker. September 6th, ZZ Top. And then you finish out the season September 19th, Steve Miller Band. Tell me, I know you're looking forward to every single concert, but tell me one of those that really you have your eye on.
I mean, I'm, a little bit more alt in my music choices, so I'm super excited about kicking off the season with Third Eye Blind. They're going to be joined by special guests. Their support act is Joy Bomb, who is a local band here. So we're super excited about that. I'm inviting some local Memphis talent onto the stage as well for that concert. I mean, Parker McCollum, he's wonderful. It's going to be a great show to really hit that mid-July. Darius Rucker, super favorite of Live at the Garden in Memphis. Who doesn't love Darius Rucker? And obviously, you can't go wrong with really, rounding out the season with just like classic rock superstars ZZ Top and Steve Miller Band.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I've seen both of them. In fact, I saw Steve Miller a number of years ago live at the Garden, and they brought up, I believe, some of the Stax Music Academy artists. It was fantastic. It was a great, great show, and certainly enjoyed it. And what a great venue the Botanic Garden is to see some of these shows outside. Can you talk about all the different aspects that go into seeing a show there? I mean, you can bring your food, you can bring your drink, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what's wonderful and unique about the Radiance Amphitheater at the Memphis Botanic Garden is we want you to come and enjoy a night out. We want it to be an experience and a memory for you to have forever. So we invite folks to bring their own chairs, bring picnics, bring coolers, set up, find a great spot on the lawn, and enjoy the evening. And there's a great, band and music happening, but it's also a really good opportunity to get with your community and just enjoy a wonderful nature under a tree canopy just alongside Audubon Lake.
So tell me how much tickets are and how people can get a hold of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we still have our season passes online. So that means you get a ticket to every single show. And those are starting at $345. Plus fees, and then individual lawn shows, maybe you have some conflict with dates, starts at $70 for our individual lawn tickets. And those are all available via Ticketmaster.com. And I'd be remiss if I did not say how wonderful, and we could not do it without our wonderful sponsors, including title sponsor Regions Bank, legacy sponsor Duncan Williams Asset Management, and our presenting sponsors AutoZone, FedEx, Gossett Motor Cars, True Green, Mahaffey, Pro Show Systems, and the Lilly Company.
Wonderful. Olivia, it looks like a great season to embark upon at Memphis Botanic Garden, live at the Garden. There it is, an amazing lineup this year. Certainly a ton of fun no matter who's playing there at Memphis Botanic Garden. Olivia, thanks so much for joining us on the Digital Desk. We appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Monday morning, which will feature stormy pockets as we head through the middle and latter portion of the day. A few of the storms that are able to flare up could be a bit on the stronger side. When we take a look at our day planner, again, you'll see some scattered downpours developing as we head towards the late morning, early afternoon hours. The system will quickly move off towards the east. It's going to be a cold front that comes swinging through the area, and eventually behind the front, drier air filters in here. You see the winds coming out of the north and west eventually as the front comes swinging through. Now that we do have a risk for a few stronger storms, the SPC has part of the area underneath that level 2 risk, level 1 risk behind that, and a no risk the farther north and west that you go. But there's still a chance that we can still see a gusty storm or two, at least early on in the day. Or when I say early on, I mean as we get towards the mid portion of the morning hours as the initial band starts to move off towards the east. I'm still going to open up a time frame and call it a marginal risk across the area today, 10 to 5 on that risk. And again, our main impact will likely come from strong winds. We got storms to the north, storms to the south, a couple of downpours to the north and west of us, and we'll start to see a few sporadic downpours here and there as we head towards the late morning hours. Notice as we get towards the early afternoon, showers and storms across West Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi. Here comes the front swinging through, and that's going to help to push everything down towards the south and suppress it out of the area. We'll still have some lingering showers and thunderstorms as we head through the early evening, but very quickly after sunset, things are going to calm down. Skies clear out. We'll have some zones of fog, though, to start off early on your Tuesday morning, so don't be surprised, especially across portions of West Tennessee, North Mississippi, because, again, those will be the areas that probably see the rainfall potential. So, again, some 60s to start off the day tomorrow. We'll work our way back up through the middle 80s through the afternoon hours. Tons of sunshine and tolerable humidity levels. We'll take it. We'll run with it all day long. 60s again early on Wednesday. We'll work our way back up through the middle and upper 80s, approaching 90 in a few spots by Wednesday afternoon. Of course, we want you to stay weather aware anytime and everywhere. You can download the First Alert Weather app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Interactive radar, First Alert forecast right there in the palm of your hand, anytime and everywhere. All right, muggy meter comes diving south as we head through your Tuesday. That's that humidity levels coming down in the wake of our frontal boundary. Slowly, though, we'll start to add the humidity back into the fold as we head towards the middle and latter portion of the week, and eventually level off at a pretty steamy feel as we head towards the upcoming weekend. That will also lead us up to better chances for rain and storms, taking us into your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday of next week. If you're able to stay away from showers and thunderstorms, yeah, I think we're going to be in the upper 80s. If you get underneath the downpour, though, yeah, you'll probably be low to mid 80s. But at any rate, the steamy air is going to be there. That could have some impacts for your Father's Day plans. If you have plans to be out and about for Father's Day, we also have several things going on. Jefferson Starship, as well as Kansas 38 Special. They've got a concert down in South Haven this weekend. We've got Tri-State Black Pride. That kicks off on Thursday. So again, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Some of the outward facing outdoors. So something to keep in the back of your mind if you do have weekend plans yet again. We do have a chance for a couple of storms moving back into the fold as we head towards your Monday afternoon. Temperatures in the 80s, though. We'll go 86 the high temperature on your Tuesday. I think upper 80s close to 90 come Wednesday, Thursday as well. A couple spotty downpours on Thursday. Better chances again for the weekend. Not a washout, though, but you will have to tangle with some downpours. And yes, is there a risk that we could see a strong storm embedded in that? Yeah, it's a possibility. It's not a certainty, though. We'll eventually start to see things calming down as we head towards the mid portion of next week with brighter skies and highs nearing 90 once again by the mid portion of next week.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We are always looking for ways to reduce our stress in our crazy busy lives. Everyone's so busy right now. We have a lot of stress, whether it's work, whether it's home, family life, who knows? We all have it. And practicing mindfulness, well, that's one way to reduce stress. On the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I'm joined right now by Allie Parker. She is a yoga instructor and a studio leader at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville. Allie, so glad you joined us here. So tell me about mindfulness, practicing mindfulness, and how it can help all of us reduce stress in our lives, because we really need to reduce that stress. Good morning.
Good morning. And isn't that an understatement? We are all so busy, so stressed, so much going on in our day-to-day lives that it's important to practice mindfulness. And mindfulness for some people immediately calls to mind this picture of meditation, and you just sort of picture like a yogi in a silent room on a cushion, canceling all their thoughts. But mindfulness is something that we can practice every day. It's as simple as being aware of the present moment, noticing your thoughts without judgment, and just carving out time in your day to be in whatever moment that you're in right then and there.
Okay, I love it. So for our audience, we have thousands of people who watch each and every morning, Allie. Let's talk about ways that people can just do this wherever they are, whether they're at work, at home, maybe waiting in the doctor's office, what have you.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my favorite things is to pick up something that you do every day. Brushing your teeth, waiting in the school pickup line, something that you're going to do on a recurring basis, and let that be your reminder to practice mindfulness. And mindfulness is as simple as stopping, taking a breath, observing, noticing what's going on, and then proceeding, moving forward with more awareness of the present moment. So one of my favorite things to do is just when I'm sitting at my desk at work is take a moment, kind of drop what I'm doing, notice how my feet feel in my shoes, notice the temperature of the air on my skin, take a moment and take a few deep breaths. Notice how my breath feels traveling in through my nose and how it feels leaving my body. And then just doing a full body scan and noticing what changed after practicing a few moments of mindfulness and awareness.
I like that. It seems pretty simple. And tell me about how doing that for a few minutes each and every day, how that can reduce stress.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. There are so many studies out there and more coming out each and every day that talk about how mindfulness can actually rewire our brains. So there's a study from the National Institute of Health that shows that practicing mindfulness and meditation can actually help with the areas of our mind that are responsible for processing emotions and retaining memory. So there are some really proven benefits to taking this time, carving it out in your day. It's also been noted in various studies that practicing mindfulness for as few as 5 minutes a day can help reduce perceived stress by 40%, which is a pretty staggering statistic. I would take a 40% reduction in stress any day. So definitely super simple to take 5 minutes of your day. And fortunately, there are so many resources nowadays to practice, especially with May being Mental Health Awareness Month. There are so many platforms that are offering ways to practice meditation, one of which is the Lifetime digital app. It's free to members and non-members. I just did mine this morning. I love to do it when I'm waiting for school pickup line. It's a great one to just plug in during your day. And like I said, it's just 5 minutes. Some of them are moving meditations where we're getting you moving with your breath. Some are more still where you can practice them seated in a waiting room, like you mentioned, and you're just noticing your breath work and tapping into your physical body. So lots of different variations that you can take. Also, some of my favorites are walking meditations. I know the weather's finally getting nice enough to get back outside and walk. So put on a walking meditation from the Lifetime digital app next time you go and let me know how it goes.
I love everything that you're saying. It sounds fantastic. It sounds great. What about meditation? A lot of people might be intimidated to try it. They think, oh, well, I can't sit still for more than a minute without like thinking about everything, and my mind freaks out and it's going a million miles an hour. How do we get to the point where we can practice meditation, Allie?
Yeah, and honestly, the people who are having a mile a minute thoughts or feel like I'm not a good candidate for meditation because I can't sit still, you're the perfect candidate for meditation. So meditation is a practice of noticing. I always tell my students, it's not the absence of thought, It's noticing the thought. So a great analogy that I had a teacher once explain to me is imagine sitting sort of behind a waterfall and let your thoughts just be the water that falls right in front of you. So you're noticing them, you're seeing them, but you're not attaching yourselves to them. Or if you are, you just sort of label it like, okay, I just thought about my grocery list. Let's bring it back to where I am right now. And one of the easiest ways to bring yourself back to the present moment is taking a deep, slow, intentional breath and just saying to yourself, inhale, exhale, and repeating that a few times. And again, it's so natural for all of us when we're practicing meditation, even those of us who practice daily, to have moments where our mind wanders. It's important to give ourselves grace and practice without judgment so that we can call ourselves back to the present moment and say, okay, I went and thought about what I have to do later today. Let me call myself back to where I am right now with my breath. Inhale through my nose, exhale slowly through my mouth, something like that. We can bring you right back. And it's easy to just take a moment, label the thought, and move forward.
I love the waterfall. That allegory, it sounds great. I mean, it's a great analogy, and I'm going to try that after we're done here.
Amazing, love it.
Yes, absolutely. Final thoughts. I mean, is there a place where people can go online and maybe kind of learn more about this, practicing meditation, mindfulness, reducing stress through these kind of different techniques?
Absolutely. As I previously mentioned, the Lifetime digital app is totally free to members and non-members. So if you're not a member of Lifetime, don't feel like you still can't download that app from the App Store, log in. And then within there, we have a challenge going on during May. It's to practice meditation every day, and it's literally just 5 minutes. So once you log into the app, one of the first things that you'll see is that practice for mindfulness. I would encourage you guys to drill into that, check it out. And beyond May, this will be available, again, free to members and non-members for you to check it out. They've got various different types and lengths of meditation. So once you get more comfortable with 5 minutes, you might bump up to 10 minutes on a day that you have a little bit more time and see how your mind reacts to a little bit more space and intentionality in those times. We also have classes here during the month of May at Lifetime. So if you're interested in trying out a class, all of our instructors are incorporating 5 minutes of mindfulness at the end of class. So if you want to just kind of get your toes wet, see what it's about, see like, can I really do it? A great way to practice is, first of all, to get out of your mind and into your body by doing some physical exercise, coming to a class, and then we'll wrap up the class with 5 minutes of intentional meditation or mindfulness. And I think that you'll find it's a lot less daunting than you think it is.
Allie Parker, Lifetime Fitness yoga studio leader in Collierville. Thank you so much. This was excellent. Lots of information, chock full there. We appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, we got a treat for you because later next month, June 13th, you are going to be able to see Jefferson Starship at the Bank Plus Amphitheater in Snowden Grove in South Haven, Mississippi. They're going to be playing some classic hits and some modern music as well. It is an incredible band that has really gone through several iterations over the last 50 years. In fact, I am joined right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Kathy Richardson. I understand you're the main lead singer. Is that right, Kathy? Good morning.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I've been in the band, excuse me, since 2008. So it's been 17 years, and it's actually insane, because never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I would be in Jefferson Starship. But it's a great place to be.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, like, tell me about that. So you take the stage with a band that has so much history over decades, 50 years, all these different songs, and yet you've been there for a decent amount of time, but not the 50 years. I mean, what's it like trying to fill some shoes there and yet still give everything you've got to the crowd and everything that they want as well?
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Grace Slick is one of the queens of rock and roll, along with Janis Joplin, who I also insanely portrayed in a play called Love, Janis. And then I was asked to sing with Big Brother and the Holding Company, Janis's original band. And we were on tour with Jefferson Starship. And that's where I met them. And it turned out shortly after that, they needed a singer. And they asked me to join. And it was really, really a surreal experience, because they're absolutely one of my favorite bands. The whole legacy, starting with Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship, and Starship. Grace Slick is, of course, one of my heroes. And obviously, I'm not her, and people like to remind me of that all the time. I'm well aware. But, my whole thing is just give it everything you've got. And that's what I learned from my mentors, my heroes. And that's what we try to do every night.
I got it. So we're looking at some video here of Jefferson Starship, and
the windmill cowbell. That's one of my signature moves.
Okay, so tell me about this tour so far. What's it like?
It's great. We just got done with 2 weeks playing kind of small theaters on the East Coast. We were in South Carolina, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and it's a lot of fun. We have so much music in the history, and we try to touch on all of it and make the fans happy, play the songs they want to hear. And that, of course, that's different for everyone, but there's so many hits. We could fill a whole show with just hits.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a classic rock guy, so I know Jefferson Airplane and White Rabbit and Somebody to Love, and then you got Starship and Jefferson Starship with all the different songs there.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot there. There's a lot of catalog that you could play. But you mentioned, being on stage there and having to fill these shoes of Grace Slick and some of the other former iterations of Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship. What do you tell people that say that you just mentioned? Oh, you're not Grace Slick. I mean, what do you say to that?
I say, I know we're two totally different people, and we have different bodies and faces and souls and everything, and names. I know I'm not her, and I get that she's an icon and people want to see her, but she's 85. She doesn't tour anymore. She's sitting at home painting, and she's quite happy doing that. And she's very supportive also of me in doing this role. And, it's hard for me to be like, well, Grace Slick loves me, so you should too, but
Right.
She does. And she's just extraordinarily supportive. She wants the music to live on forever. And bringing in new members is the way that continues to happen. So even though I'm not new anymore, and I think our newest member has been in the band 12 or 13 years at this point, Jude Gold, the guitar player. Chris Smith, not original, but has been in the band 25 years. Donnie Baldwin, also not original drummer, but he was in the historical band. He played on the Nuclear Furniture album, and then went on to play on all the great hits of Starship. We Built This City, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, Sarah. And then, of course, we have David Freiberg, who is original Jefferson Starship, not original Airplane, but he was in the Airplane. So, I think the whole thing with the changes over the years, Marty Ballin left and Grace Slick left at the same time, and they brought in Mickey Thomas, and it was kind of like onward. That was Paul Kantner's motto, next, who's next? We're just going to get the next best person we have to do this job. And and I think, it's cool because new members coming in, we don't try to sound exactly like the record. That's not what we do. We're not like a tribute band. We're not trying to look and sound exactly like the original band, but just really allowing the music to evolve, which it would no matter who was playing it. And even if the original members were all still alive and still here, it wouldn't sound the same as it did in the 60s and 70s. So, I think you just have to be on board with change being a fact of life. And but the one thing that remains constant with this band is the music and the songs. And a great song is a great song no matter what. And we have such a rich catalog, like you said.
Yeah, no question about it. So you got the show coming up in South Haven, June 13th. What can fans expect?
Well, they can expect us to play all the great hits of Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship, and Starship, and see it delivered in a really tight, powerful way with some original historical members and others of us who have been here for a really long time, and just a good time.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Anything else before we let you go? It sounds like a great show on the way.
Thank you. Yeah, well, love to see everybody out there. And if you want to find out more about us, go to jeffersonstarship.com. We're also on all the socials, Facebook, TikTok, all the things. So come find out more. And if you want to celebrate this great music with us, come on out to the show.
All right, Kathy Richardson, the lead singer of Jefferson Starship. We appreciate your time on the digital desk and look forward to your tour stop here in South Haven, June 13th. We appreciate your time. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Dietitians, boy, they play such an important role when it comes to helping people understand the connection between food and nutrition and how it can impact our lives. Let's bring in our friend, our clinical dietitian for Regional One Health. We got Quinay Johnson joining us once again on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Quinay, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Good morning, everyone. And nice to be back.
Yes. Always good to have you. So we know that there are a lot of processed foods, ultra processed foods, and the way that they are processed affects how healthy they are or how unhealthy they are, I guess I should say. Can you explain the difference between processed foods, what that means, ultra processed foods, and best practices to avoid them?
I like to think of processing as modification. So there's a scale when it comes to processed foods, and it can be subjective, but the things that are constant are minimally processed and ultra processed. Minimally processed or minimally altered food can be your apple, for an example. You pick it straight off the tree, that's as minimally processed as they can get, versus ultra processed foods. It can be like an applesauce that has corn syrup added to it to make it sweet and also has preservatives within it to make sure it lasts long on the shelf and doesn't make you sick, or apple juice with added sweeteners such as corn syrup.
That's good to know. That's a good distinction, Quinay. Thank you. And food choices, it's so hard for so many people out there. I mean, price is obviously a factor for so many people out there because grocery store prices, as you know, I mean, they've gone through the roof over the last several years. How do we make good food choices? If you had to just kind of give people maybe 3 bullet points on how to make good food choices, what would you tell them?
I would say knowing how to read a food label and understanding ingredients within the list on the back of food can help you make better options. To limit the amount of ultra processed ingredients you consume could be a great place to start. Two, making things more convenient for you. For an example, investing into buying frozen foods or still buying fresh foods and having tools at home to make sure that it's a quicker process for you to have food available so that you can make healthier options is number two. And then three, again, preparation is best, but having like fresh fruits and vegetables to snack on to make sure that you're getting a lot of vitamins and minerals as best as possible and not being enticed to buy fast food because you don't have any fresh fruit available at home is a third way to make healthier choices.
Where do people make the biggest mistakes, Quine, when it comes to shopping at grocery stores?
Ooh, that's a great question. I believe the biggest mistake that can happen is to just not be intentional when it comes to going grocery shopping. So if you set time out before going to make a list and checking the boxes as to making sure that you have fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, lean meats, grains, and whole grains, and things of that nature before you go into the grocery store, that can help alleviate some of the issues when it comes to making mistakes at the grocery store. And then also going to the grocery store hungry. Don't do it because you're always going to impulsively buy something versus getting the things that you need to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
Oh, yeah, I've made that mistake plenty of times. And then I come home and I'm like, what is all this stuff? So, okay, let's talk about suggestions, easy ways, friendly reminders to make it easier to eat healthier each and every day.
One great way to make things easier for yourself is to, again, make a grocery list before you go to the grocery store. Buy things that you're more motivated to eat at home that are still healthy. For an example, I love pineapples. Pineapples, I believe, are in season right now, or apples. And having foods that are less processed or have less ingredients in them to complement those things. So I'm allergic to peanut butter, so I don't do that, but I do sunflower butter. That's something that I could pair with apples, and that's a great snack to have. Also, I'm trying to think of another way. Oh, buying frozen foods. That can be a cheap and also affordable way to get vegetables and fruits in that aren't as processed as per se your canned foods that have added salt in them, or for fruit, canned fruits with corn syrup added into them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
yeah.
that's good. That's good. Let's talk about just, final question, just the main point you want people to remember when it comes to sticking to a healthy diet and how it affects our health.
The biggest thing that I want to be taken away from this is preparation saves a lot of heartache. If you go into something intentionally and have a game plan, you're more likely to succeed or win the game versus just going in willy-nilly, no practice, trying to be Michael Jordan.
Quine Johnson has jokes on a Tuesday. Thank you, Quine. I appreciate that. We always appreciate what you do as a clinical dietitian at Regional One Health. Thanks again for joining us on the Digital Desk.
Thank you so much, and I'm hoping that everyone
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. It's already pool season, and before you know it, school's going to be out, and the family's going to be either hanging out at the pool or going to the lake or going to the beach, and you want to make sure you have water safety top of mind, just to make sure everything is A-OK throughout the spring and summer months. I'm joined right now by aquatics leader at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville, Lindsay Carter, joining me on the digital desk to talk about maybe some friendly reminders, some tips and tricks to keep everybody safe around the water this season. Lindsay, good morning to you. Tell us maybe some tips, some just friendly reminders out there, first off, of what people can do to make sure everybody is safe. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I think that the most important thing is making sure that you always have visual contact on your non-swimmer, and making sure that you are wearing Coast Guard approved life vest. Coast Guard approved life vest are those are the life vests that you don't blow air into. And so, you know, the simple safety around the pool, right? Which would include not running around the pool. You run around the pool, you could slip, fall, and an emergency could happen. So I think just putting that phone down, keeping eye contact. If your child or an adult is a non-swimmer, having someone that is a swimmer within 10 feet of them.
Okay, Lindsay, let me ask you this. You know, when do you recommend people, maybe with younger families, when do you recommend swim lessons? Do you recommend that early on or a little bit later? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the earlier the child goes through swim lessons, the more confident and succeeding in swim that they can be. We start at Lifetime, we start swim lessons at 3 months, but we also go all the way up to adult age. I don't think that you're too young to do swim lessons, and I do not believe that you're too old for swim lessons. Even if that consists of just learning your life-saving skills in the water, I don't think that there is a age that we should put on swim lessons. So we start at 3 months old, and then we do go all the way up to adult age. The earlier the better, obviously, but there's no age for swim lessons.
Okay, so we're looking at some video here of kids, you know, hanging out on the pool. Before you know it, the school's going to be out. There's going to be a lot of days like this across Memphis and the Mid-South. So what other tips should we recommend for the folks out there just to make sure everybody is safe this year?
Right, absolutely. We do make sure that all the children pass a 25-10 test. What our 25-10 rule is, if the child cannot swim 25 meters, then an adult swimmer needs to be 10 feet. I think that can go for the community families as well. We also making sure that you're taking breaks. We recommend no longer than 2 hours. So every 2 hours, you can take breaks before that 2 hour mark, but we do at least 2 hours. Those breaks need to consist of reapplying sunscreen, hydrating, resting, maybe a light snack, and just getting out of the water so the child can regroup or the adult can regroup from the fun.
Okay, good. And tell me about how many people should be, you know, I guess lifeguarding or watching the pool during these times when, you know, kids are playing.
Right. So we do have ratios for our summer camp that we offer at Lifetime. We do a 1-to-3 ratio for non-swimmers and a 1-to-6 ratio for swimmers. For lifeguards, it's 2 lifeguards per 25 kids for our outdoor pool. We typically have 7 to 8 lifeguards on duty watching during the summertime. Indoor pool, it is a little bit different. It's 1 guard per 25, but when we do open our outdoor pool, we do have 2 guards per 25 kids. So roughly about 7 to 8 guards on duty during our pool season.
Where do parents often make mistakes from your perspective, where do people kind of get in trouble?
Technology, phones, getting out of the water when your child is still in the water, taking your eyes off the water. I think a lot of times the parents like, yeah, my child can do that. And your child may be able to do that. I think that when there are a ton of children in the pool and everyone's having fun, sometimes the child may look at another child and start doing what they're doing, maybe not knowing that that requires a different skill, that child's a different age. I think that and I'm a mom as well of 3. And so as a parent, your priority needs to always be to be watching your child, and try to stay off the phone, try to stay in the water, and then realize that they may need swim lessons, right? Every child needs a refresher when it comes to swim, because most of the time they take that winter season off. They're not in the pool as much. So just acknowledging that, let's get a refresher. Let me make sure that all the skills are still there. And then realizing that sometimes those skills can fall back to make sure that we're not taking our minds and thoughts off of like, okay, well, maybe they do need more help, or so I think it's just really paying attention to those signs and cues. And then obviously that phone on the pool, wanting to scroll through social media and we take our eyes off the pool, but where our child is, I think is a huge thing that parents come across.
Put the phone down. Yes, Lindsay Carter. All right. We appreciate those tips for a safe, happy, and healthy swim season all season long. Lindsay, thank you for joining us on the Digital Desk. We appreciate the knowledge.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Monday morning, which will feature stormy pockets as we head through the middle and latter portion of the day. A few of the storms that are able to flare up could be a bit on the stronger side. When we take a look at our day planner, again, you'll see some scattered downpours developing as we head towards the late morning, early afternoon hours. The system will quickly move off towards the east. It's going to be a cold front that comes swinging through the area, and eventually behind the front, drier air filters in here. You see the winds coming out of the north and west eventually as the front comes swinging through. Now that we do have a risk for a few stronger storms, the SPC has part of the area underneath that level 2 risk, level 1 risk behind that, and a no risk the farther north and west that you go. But there's still a chance that we can still see a gusty storm or two, at least early on in the day. Or when I say early on, I mean as we get towards the mid portion of the morning hours, as the initial band starts to move off towards the east. I'm still going to open up a time frame and call it a marginal risk across the area today, 10 to 5. On that risk. And again, our main impact will likely come from strong winds. We got storms to the north, storms to the south, a couple of downpours to the north and west of us, and we'll start to see a few sporadic downpours here and there as we head towards the late morning hours. Notice as we get towards the early afternoon, showers and storms across West Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi. Here comes the front swinging through, and that's going to help to push everything down towards the south and suppress it out of the area. We'll still have some lingering showers and thunderstorms as we head through the early evening, but very quickly after sunset, things are going to calm down. Skies clear out. We'll have some zones of fog, though, to start off early on your Tuesday morning, so don't be surprised, especially across portions of West Tennessee, North Mississippi, because, again, those will be the areas that probably see the rainfall potential. So, again, some 60s to start off the day tomorrow. We'll work our way back up through the middle 80s through the afternoon hours. Tons of sunshine and tolerable humidity levels. We'll take it. We'll run with it all day long. 60s again early on Wednesday. We'll work our way back up through the middle and upper 80s, approaching 90 in a few spots by Wednesday afternoon. Of course, we want you to stay weather aware anytime anytime and everywhere. You can download the First Alert Weather app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Interactive radar, First Alert forecast right there in the palm of your hand, anytime and everywhere. All right, Muggy Meter comes diving south as we head through your Tuesday. That's that humidity levels coming down in the wake of our frontal boundary. Slowly, though, we'll start to add the humidity back into the fold as we head towards the middle and latter portion of the week and eventually level off at a pretty steamy feel as we head towards the upcoming weekend. That will also lead us up to better chances for rain and storms, taking us into your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday of next week. If you're able to stay away from showers and thunderstorms, yeah, I think we're going to be in the upper 80s. If you get underneath the downpour, though, yeah, you'll probably be low to mid 80s. But at any rate, the steamy air is going to be there. That could have some impacts for your Father's Day plans. If you have plans to be out and about for Father's Day, we also have several things going on. Jefferson Starship, as well as Kansas 38 Special. They've got a concert down in South Haven this weekend. We've got Tri-State Black Pride. That kicks off on Thursday. So again, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Some of the outward facing outdoors. So something to keep in the back of your mind if you do have weekend plans yet again. We do have a chance for a couple of storms moving back into the fold as we head towards your Monday afternoon. Temperatures in the 80s though. We'll go 86 the high temperature on your Tuesday. I think upper 80s close to 90 come Wednesday, Thursday as well. A couple spotty downpours on Thursday. Better chances again for the weekend. Not a washout though, but you will have to tangle with some downpours. And yes, is there a risk that we could see a strong storm embedded in that? Yeah, it's a possibility. It's not a certainty, though. We'll eventually start to see things calming down as we head towards the mid-portion of next week with brighter skies and highs nearing 90 once again by the mid-portion of next week.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. There are so many opportunities to go walk your dog, whether it's in a neighborhood, around your home, at dog parks. Now that it's spring and it's warming up, it feels amazing outside and it's the perfect time to walk your dog. The problem is when you see these kinds of things and you have your dog going to different areas, being social along with you, respiratory diseases increase as well. And that's why it's so important for pet owners to take proactive steps to keep their pets healthy during this time of year. Let's bring in someone to talk more about this topic. I'm joined now by Dr. Natalie Marks. She's with Merck Animal Health, joining us on the digital desk. Dr. Natalie Marks, good morning to you. Let's talk about what are some key things that pet owners should be mindful of so they can keep their dogs healthy and protected. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Well, respiratory disease season, as you mentioned, is ramping up for dogs, and we see that peaking between Memorial Day and Labor Day and spiking in July. That might surprise a lot of dog owners out there because for humans, of course, we think of respiratory disease really ramping in the fall and winter. That's why now is the perfect time to talk to your veterinarian about your dog's risk and vaccination options so we can keep them safe and protected from diseases like canine influenza, canine parainfluenza, and Bordetella bronchoseptica. And these are common respiratory illnesses that are transmitted dog to dog or through contaminated surfaces like toys, leashes, and water bowls, or even from secretions from other dogs coughing and sneezing. And we see them easily spread at daycares and kennels, but as you mentioned, just outside on neighborhood walks. So if you're planning travel for the spring break or summer and contemplating boarding your dog, or you're just getting outside more because it's finally getting nicer, so important to talk to your veterinarian about having your dog vaccinated to avoid the spread of these diseases.
So tell me about some of the symptoms with these diseases. There's several you just mentioned. Can you just talk about some of the symptoms and ways to safeguard your dog with these diseases?
Yeah, absolutely. So the big three I mentioned, canine influenza, which is dog flu, canine parainfluenza, Bordetella bronchoseptica. The good news is most of the time these diseases are mild. So we can see things like cough, runny nose, fever, lethargy, or loss of appetite. But that persistent cough is really uncomfortable for your dog. And in severe cases, some of these diseases can progress to pneumonia, which can be life-threatening.
That sounds terrible. So let's talk about where we can get some of the best advice to kind of safeguard and let all those pet owners know, hey, look, this is what you need to do in order to protect your dog.
Yeah, pet parents ask me all the time, how can I protect my dog as much as possible from respiratory disease? The answer is always prevention through vaccination. And two preventative vaccinations from Merck Animal Health that I love and strongly recommend are the Novivac Intratrac Oral BBPI and the Novivac Next Canine Flu H3N2. Let me tell you a little bit about both. So the oral BBPI has two components, BB, Bordetella bronchoseptica, and PI, the canine parainfluenza. These are the two most causative agents of a syndrome most dog owners have heard about, which is kennel cough. And I love this vaccine because it's super comfortable. It's administered orally through an immunomister applicator, and it just allows us to gently mist the back of your dog's throat or mouth. And the nice thing about this, it's a stress-free experience and it's can't miss coverage. The other is the canine flu vaccine, the Next Canine Flu H3N2. And this vaccine is low volume, preservative free. It optimizes protection for your dog against the most common canine influenza virus out there, which is H3N2, without compromising comfort or safety.
Natalie, where can we get more information about this? Is there a place online?
Absolutely. So if you want to learn more about the Novivac Intratrac Oral BBPI or the Novivac Next Canine Flu H3N2 or just vaccination options in general for your dog, visit merckanimalhealth.com. And don't forget, please visit your veterinarian and talk about your dog's individual risk and vaccination options so we can keep them as protected as possible this season.
Okay, Dr. Natalie Marks with Merck Animal Health. We appreciate your time on the digital desk. Very valuable information for so many people out there. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. More Americans than ever are expected to reach retirement age this year. And according to the latest Fidelity Investments State of Retirement Planning Study, many understandably are a little concerned about, in fact, pulling the trigger and retiring. Here to discuss what we need to know if we are looking at retirement this year or perhaps in the future, not too distant future. I'm joined now by Shan Gaglani. He is joining us on the digital desk. He is a retirement distributions leader at Fidelity. Shan, good morning to you. So what did a new study find about how today's retirees are planning for their retirement? Are they concerned? Are they worried that they need to get out of retirement and go back into the workforce? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Most retirees are quite positive about their present financial situation, with over 70% saying retirement is going as planned, and even more say it's been more enjoyable than they expected. That said, our study also finds that some have been slightly caught off guard by the rising cost of living and high cost of healthcare.
I totally get that. Healthcare is certainly something that I hear all the time about people being concerned once they retire, if they are not 65, that gap between retirement and 65. So how are Americans planning retirement, and is it something that they may need to adjust, or is the planning just A-OK the way it's going right now?
Well, nearly 2/3 of respondents in their planning years have a positive outlook on their upcoming retirement. This is down 7% from last year, which is due in part to the impact of the rising cost of living. Gen X is at the forefront of this drop in confidence, with only 53% feeling like they'll be able to retire on their own terms. This comes as a record number of Americans are expected to reach traditional retirement age in 2025. So that lower confidence about retirement from Gen X can really be traced back to the fact that many are facing preparing for retirement, continuing to care for their children, and aging parents all at once.
Okay, so the natural question there, Sham, is how do you get more prepared? How do you get more confident to say, okay, I'm going to retire at this point in the next, 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think most important is having a plan in place is crucial. It's also really important to stick with your plan. So our study found that 92% of Americans feel that financial planning doesn't end when retirement begins. So ideally, you should have a diversified income plan where essential expenses are covered by guaranteed income sources that keep up with the cost of or with inflation. So we're talking about Social Security and annuities where you're turning part of your savings into a reliable income stream that you'll have throughout retirement. When it comes to discretionary expenses, you should really look to cover those from savings or investment income. So if you need to cut back, this is a place to do it, but you'll still be able to cover day-to-day living expenses. It's also very important to maintain a reasonable asset withdrawal rate. So we recommend targeting an average asset withdrawal rate between 4 and 5% a year. And finally, one of the largest expenses in retirement is healthcare, with a 65-year-old needing $165,000 to cover healthcare costs throughout retirement. It's important for a pre-retiree to have a plan that accounts for how they'll cover future healthcare expenses. So understanding your Medicare strategy and potential expenses related to long-term care can really help gain an understanding of additional healthcare costs that you'll look to include and need to include in your retirement income plan.
So, Sham, let me press a little bit on that. I mean, what are you telling your customers? What are you telling the people that you deal with, when it comes to healthcare costs and planning for retirement?
I think one of the most important things for anyone at any stage of planning to keep in mind is the sooner you start saving, the better off that you'll be. So take advantage of time. The more you save and the sooner you save, the better off you'll be when it comes time to put a retirement plan together and be able to fund the retirement that you want to have and retire when you're ready to retire.
Anything else we want to mention about retirement and how things have changed? It sounds like the formula for the most part is essentially the same. I mean, diversify investments, that sort of thing. Anything else that we can talk about with regards to retirement now?
Well, there are definitely some differences between today's retirees and retirees that are coming up. One distinct difference between the groups is today's retirees are the last to report in large numbers that predictable income sources like pensions are going to be the primary way that they'll fund their retirement, whereas 6 in 10 Americans in their planning years say the biggest income streams that they'll have will come from their IRAs and 401ks or other workplace plans. So only about half of retirees are saying the same thing about their IRAs and workplace plans today. I think the good news here is recent Fidelity data shows retirement savers are building good habits, and they're saving in IRAs and workplace plans at a rate that's close to Fidelity's recommended 15% per year.
Okay, Sham Gaglani, we appreciate you and everybody at Fidelity Investments for helping us out with this conversation. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. It is always great to talk with our friends over at Overton Park Shell, in particular, our good friend. And we got a new operating system here, so I'm working through some things. But our good friend Shelby Smith joining us on the Action News 5 digital desk, our BFF, as we like to say. Shelby, nice to see you once again. Several weeks ago, we had a conversation, and you were talking about this playlist that you guys had put together on Overton Park Shell about some of the bands coming into Memphis and the Mid-South. And this playlist I've been listening to in my car, and one of the bands that I listened to, and I was like, wow, these guys are really good. And they took over Sirius XM channel 28, the Spectrum, for like a weekend. And it was this Eddie 9-volt who's going to be at Overton Park Shell on Thursday. Tell me more. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so excited that you're utilizing our playlist. I love to hear that. Make sure to keep doing that, and tell your friends too as well, because we're still rocking and rolling here at the Overton Park Shell. We've got, I think, three weeks left in our Orion Financial Free Concert Series. So if you haven't made your way to the lawn, definitely do so soon. But like you said, Eddie 9-volt is kicking us off on Thursday. A Georgia-born or emerged band. They kind of blend a bit of Southern soul, like rock and roll, blues, funk. They're kind of like a microcosm of different genres, but we are so excited that not only you got to kind of get to know them through the playlist, but we're hoping that people are excited to gather on Thursday here at the lawn as he kicks off our shows for the weekend. It's going to be we have 2 other shows on Saturday and Sunday, or not Saturday and Sunday, excuse me, Friday and Saturday. We've got Ish Nassgrass. Their name kind of gives you an idea of where they come from and what they're bringing to the table. Based out of Nashville, bluegrass. They actually took home the International Bluegrass Music Association's Best Award for up-and-coming Best New Artists. So super stoked that they get to bring their talents to the Overton Park Shell. And then we're ending things off with a banger, the Bodine legendary rock band from 1986. They got their start out of Waukesha, Wisconsin. And again, alternative classic rock. They are legendary. They are actually a part of I believe what is it called? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How am I blanking on that name? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's Midwest permanent exhibit. So super stoked to bring such legendary acts to continue this season with us.
Yeah, it's a very diverse group, and I would recommend to anybody out there, if they want to check out a free show and you want to see who's coming to the Overton Park Shell, just go to Spotify or any music platform and just put in Overton Park Shell, and you will see the playlist. And it's a great playlist to just kind of listen to and see what you like, and check out all these bands that are coming in. And I love just these 3 bands. They are very different from one another, but they all put out great music. I love that, Shelby.
And again, we really do, it is very integral within our programming to prioritize diversity when it comes to booking. So we love that our artists do reflect the different communities that tend to come to our lawn. And all we ask for people or patrons that want to come and experience what we are bringing to the table at the Overton Park Shell is to enter with an open mind. You might not know the genres, you might not know the artist, but guess what? You're going to leave having a great time, because it's a chance for you to fellowship with your fellow Memphians and enjoy some free music while you're at it.
No question about it. I love it, and looking forward to it. Anything else you want to mention before we let you go?
Like I said, we only have 3 weeks left of our Orion Financial Free Concert Series before we take a break. It gets a little too hot to continue the series throughout June, the rest of June and July. But like I said, we'll be back in the fall, but definitely make sure to join us on the lawn before we take a little break, and make sure to check out all of our other programming. We're actually in partnership with Memphis Travel to host Blues Tuesdays from here on out. They are celebrating 100 days of blues leading up to B.B. King's birthday party in September. And so come check out our tour. Our blues musicians from past and present, they really do leave a stamp on the legacy that we have at the Overton Park Shell. So throughout that tour, you'll get to know some of the heavy hitters that have joined us on the stage, and you'll get to know the amazing crop of talented artists that have taken the stage throughout history. So we've got plenty for people to enjoy here at the Overton Park Shell, and we're just excited for people to come and join us. So you can check out all this information at overtonparkshell.org, and we hope to see you soon.
That sounds great. Shelby Smith, we always appreciate you coming on the digital desk and letting us know about all these fantastic events happening with Overton Park Shell and Shell on Wheels. We appreciate you and the entire staff at Overton Park Shell. Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon.
Okay, we'll see you. Another live look from our High Five camera here as we go to break. Already 75 degrees at 8:54. Let's talk about your forecast in 1 minute.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Monday morning, which will feature stormy pockets as we head through the middle and latter portion of the day. A few of the storms that are able to flare up could be a bit on the stronger side. When we take a look at our day planner, again, you'll see some scattered downpours developing as we head towards the late morning, early afternoon hours. The system will quickly move off towards the east. It's going to be a cold front that comes swinging through the area, and eventually behind the front, drier air filters in here. You see the winds coming out of the north and west eventually as the front comes swinging through. Now that we do have a risk for a few stronger storms, the SPC has part of the area underneath that level 2 risk, level 1 risk behind that, and a no risk the farther north and west that you go. But there's still a chance that we can still see a gusty storm or two, at least early on in the day. Or when I say early on, I mean as we get towards the mid portion of the morning hours as the initial band starts to move off towards the east. I'm still going to open up a time frame and call it a marginal risk across the area today, 10 to 5 on that risk. And again, our main impact will likely come from strong winds. We got storms to the north, storms to the south, a couple of downpours to the north and west of us, and we'll start to see a few sporadic downpours here and there as we head towards the late morning hours. Notice this being towards the early afternoon. Showers and storms across West Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi. Here comes the front swinging through, and that's going to help to push everything down towards the south and suppress it out of the area. We'll still have some lingering showers and thunderstorms as we head through the early evening, but very quickly after sunset, things are going to calm down. Skies clear out. We'll have some zones of fog, though, to start off early on your Tuesday morning, so don't be surprised, especially across portions of West Tennessee, North Mississippi, because, again, those will be the areas that probably see the rainfall potential. So, again, some 60s to start off the day tomorrow. We'll work our way back up through the middle 80s through the afternoon hours. Tons of sunshine and tolerable humidity levels. We'll take it. We'll run with it all day long. 60s again early on Wednesday. We'll work our way back up through the middle and upper 80s, approaching 90 in a few spots by Wednesday afternoon. Of course, we want you to stay weather aware anytime and everywhere. You can download the First Alert Weather app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Interactive radar, First Alert forecast right there in the palm of your hand, anytime and everywhere. All right, Muggy Meter comes diving south as we head through your Tuesday. That's that humidity levels coming down in the wake of our frontal boundary. Slowly, though, we'll start to add the humidity back into the fold as we head towards the middle and latter portion of the week, and eventually level off at a pretty steamy feel as we head towards the upcoming weekend. That will also lead us up to better chances for rain and storms, taking us into your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday of next week. If you're able to stay away from showers and thunderstorms, yeah, I think we're going to be in the upper 80s. If you get underneath the downpour, though, yeah, you'll probably be low to mid 80s. But at any rate, the steamy air is going to be there. That could have some impacts for your Father's Day plans. If you have plans to be out and about for Father's Day, we also have Several things going on. Jefferson Starship, as well as Kansas 38 Special. They've got a concert down in South Haven this weekend. We've got Tri-State Black Pride. That kicks off on Thursday. So again, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Some of the outward facing outdoors. So something to keep in the back of your mind if you do have weekend plans. Yet again, we do have a chance for a couple of storms moving back into the fold as we head towards your Monday afternoon. Temperatures in the 80s though. We'll go 86 the high temperature on your Tuesday. I think upper 80s close to 90 come Wednesday, Thursday as well. A couple spotty downpours on Thursday. Better chances again for the weekend. Not a washout though, but you will have to tangle with some downpours. And yes, is there a risk that we could see a strong storm embedded in that? Yeah, it's a possibility. It's not a certainty, though. We'll eventually start to see things calming down as we head towards the mid-portion of next week with brighter skies and highs nearing 90 once again by the mid-portion of next week.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Parkinson's disease that affects nearly 1 million people in the U.S. with more than 90,000 newly diagnosed each and every year. There's no one way to diagnose Parkinson's disease. It makes it difficult to recognize. Some early signs are tremors. Some other signs are loss of smell, trouble sleeping or walking, a soft or low voice, stooping over, hunching over, and non-motor symptoms like depression and anxiety. Let's talk a little bit about Parkinson's disease, how to recognize those symptoms, and some solutions out there that we can give to families and caregivers. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by a couple of people here. John Lair, he's president and CEO of Parkinson's Foundation, and Dr. Kathy Blake. She is someone living with Parkinson's disease right now. Good morning to you both. And John, I want to begin with you. Tell us exactly what is Parkinson's disease for our viewers out there, and the most important thing to know about Parkinson's disease. Good morning.
Yeah, you captured the early signs very well. So Parkinson's is called a degenerative progressive neurological disease. It's also known as a movement disorder. So some initial signs are the ones you listed, like a resting tremor, difficulty moving. But it is a whole body disease. It can affect cognition, mental health, your senses, the GI. People will start to notice symptoms, sometime before they actually get diagnosed by a physician, preferably a neurologist. The thing to know about it is the number one risk factor for Parkinson's disease is age. So people are mostly diagnosed later in life, in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. There's just a small percentage of people who are diagnosed with what's called young onset Parkinson's disease. And the other thing I'd say is you can live well with Parkinson's if you adhere to your medication regimen and if you exercise, which I think is really very important.
Thank you for that, John. Kathy, over to you. Tell me a little bit about your story and how you manage the symptoms of Parkinson's.
So I developed symptoms of Parkinson's about 12 years ago, but there was a period of 5 years in which the pain, the achiness in my left arm and shoulder, I thought it was arthritis. I thought I was just getting older. I saw an orthopedic surgeon, went to a physical therapist, and I got better. And it was only when I started to develop a very slight tremor in my left hand, and I was seeing a physical therapist, brand new, out of school, newly minted, and I mentioned it to her, and she said, something else is going on here. She was the one who got the ball rolling. and pointed me in the direction of a neurologist and then a movement disorder specialist. So once I found out I had Parkinson's disease, the prescription, the medication, so to speak, was exercise. And that's because exercise is the one strategy that will actually slow the progression of the disease. We don't have a cure, so we want to slow the progression. And then over time, my neurologist added medication to manage some of my symptoms as well.
Kathy, thank you. I appreciate that. John, over to you. What causes Parkinson's disease? Is it just genetic? I mean, how is it diagnosed?
Yeah, so we don't really know. We know that there are a number of causes. So again, age is the #1 risk factor. We also know that genetics plays a role in diagnosis. In fact, we're running one of the largest studies looking into the genetics of Parkinson's, a program called PD Generation. And there are also environmental factors, some toxins out there that can also exacerbate and lead to a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease.
So I want to open this up to you both. Let's talk about resources available, how to best manage symptoms out there, and what would you say to family members and caregivers who are dealing with this disease with a family member? Kathy, let me start with you.
So what I would say to families and caregivers is learn as much as you possibly can about Parkinson's disease. That can be through some of the resources that John will mention. Second, you're not alone. So become part of a community of people either living with Parkinson's or caring for someone with Parkinson's. Exercise, and the exercise may be with others with Parkinson's, but it could be walking with friends. It could be riding a bicycle, going to the gym. And then lastly, get involved, if at all possible, with research. The study that John mentioned, PD Generation, but also it's through research that we will get closer to better therapies and closer to a cure.
John, over to you.
Yeah, so for more information and resources, please go to our website, which is parkinson.org. That's parkinson.org. And if you want to talk to somebody live, call our helpline, which is 800-4PD-INFO. That's 800-4PD-INFO. We have Parkinson's experts who are ready and willing to answer any questions you might have about Parkinson's disease and to also direct you to resources in your local community.
Well, John and Kathy, thank you so much for this conversation. I feel like people out there at least either have someone in their family or know someone who has Parkinson's, and they are dealing with it as a caregiver or family member. We appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Very valuable information. Thank you. Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5. Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Have you ever been to the World War II Museum in New Orleans? If you haven't, you are missing out on an American treasure. I went there with my family a number of years ago, and I was blown away at how comprehensive, how amazing this museum is. I think it's one of the best in the country. And joining me now to talk more about this museum and what's being offered as we approach the D-Day anniversary, the 81st D-Day anniversary, is retired Army Colonel Peter Crane. He is Vice President of Education and Access at the National World War II Museum in New Orleans. I appreciate you joining us, Peter. Thank you so much for coming on the digital desk. So first off, tell me how the World War II Museum began there in Memphis for our audience. I know it started as the National D-Day Museum, but give me just a quick little history lesson, if you will. Good morning.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, Andrew. I really appreciate the opportunity. Yes, we started out as the D-Day Museum 25 years ago as a single building museum that focused on the battle, D-Day and the battle in Normandy, but wound up growing to the National World War II Museum to a campus of over 7 acres and 7 different pavilions to tell that big story that you were talking about.
Yeah, it is certainly, it's so comprehensive, and I loved it just from a parental perspective. With my kids who were little at the time, they were just, it was overwhelming. But it was so enjoyable, and I felt like I couldn't see the whole museum in the afternoon that I went there. I mean, I wanted to spend the entire day. I mean, just looking at the aircraft is incredible. So listen, tell me a little bit about the history of why it's in New Orleans and what to expect if people want to go, not only this week, but later this summer.
Well, we're in New Orleans for really a great reason, and that is American industrialist Andrew Jackson Higgins. He made what was called the Higgins boats. If you saw the movie Saving Private Ryan, in that very first scene, you see the guys coming ashore on those small wooden landing craft. Every one of those was made right here in New Orleans. Higgins Industries made more than 20,000 of them during the war. And so that's the main reason why we're here. But we've been telling the story of World War II from the very beginning through individual stories, personal accounts of those who fought the war. And we take an immersive approach. So like you were talking about, you can see the planes, you can see the artifacts and get a feeling for what it was like.
No question about it. So, so here we are. It has grown so much over the last 25 years. It is still very much a part of any kind of history lesson or visit for visitors down there in New Orleans. What would you want to say to the people of Memphis, the thousands of people we have watching us here on the digital desk, about not only this museum, but making sure you carve out some time to go see it if you are traveling to New Orleans, which, by the way, many Memphians do?
Well, absolutely. You're not that far away from us, so we'd love to have you come down. New Orleans is always an inviting place, and of course, we are the #1 attraction here in New Orleans. But for those who can't come down here, you can still enjoy the products that we have. You can come to the national www.the2museum.org, or even just go to neworleans.com to look what we have online. And we always have something going on. We have webinars, we have articles, we live stream all of our events. So there's always something that people can do to connect with us, and we of course would love to have everybody come down, but you can still meet us online.
Is there a place online, you just mentioned online about streaming, is there a place online where people can go and get more information about the museum, its hours, how to get tickets, that sort of thing?
Sure. As our website, actually there's 2 websites you can go to, our national www.the2museum.org or neworleans.com, and just follow the links on that. And you can plan your visit on our website, and you could also, of course, explore the artifacts we have, our oral histories. We have thousands of them online, so you can actually hear World War II veterans telling the story themselves.
I have to say, one of the things that we enjoyed as a family is watching the planning in that room for D-Day, and we're here. We know how the story ends, but it was still so intense. It was still so, you felt like you were in the planning stages of trying to figure out exactly how the troops are going to go in, the weather, the different information that's going and dropping and pamphlets. So incredible, so immersive. Really enjoy it. And retired Army Colonel Peter Crane, thank you so much for joining us on the Digital Desk. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. If you're like me, you are always trying to figure out a better way to get a better night's sleep. It's so elusive for so many of us. We are so busy. Our lives are just chock full of all kinds of busyness with work and various activities outside of work. So it is so important to get that sleep for so many health benefits. So how do we do it? Not next week, not this weekend, tonight. How are we going to do it? Well, let's bring on someone who's an expert in sleep. I am joined right now by Prahad Sharma. He is a pulmonologist. He's also a sleep physician at Regional One Health. He leads a sleep clinic at the hospital, and he's joining us right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Prahad, thank you for joining us here. Where do people, first off, make their biggest mistakes when it comes to trying to find a way to get some good rest out there? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Where do people make the biggest mistakes?
So I think there's a lot of things that we could do. It's not the mistake that we make, but it's basically that we don't know that all those small things matter. As for everything else, preparation is the key for the sleep. So if you prepare yourself well, then you may have a good night's sleep. But if your preparation is not that good, then the sleep may not be that great. And what we talk about that is what you do throughout the day, what you eat throughout the day, how you spend your day, what happens throughout your day doesn't matter your sleep. At the same time, how you sleep, when you sleep, and what environment you sleep in also affects your sleep.
What's the biggest factor in getting a good night's rest? If you had to name it, I know there's several, okay, but if you had to name the biggest factor in getting a good night's rest, what is it?
So first thing is, I think you need to prepare yourself, as we said earlier, that have a relaxing environment, calm down, what we call the wind down time. And when you go to the bed itself, you have to stick on a schedule, because things work better if you stick to a strict schedule. And sometimes it's difficult over the weekend. What is more important at that time is you try to fix your wake up time, because you can control that. So if you remain on that rhythm, what we call the circadian rhythm, then your sleep is better. And when you go lie down in the bed, make it dark, quiet, cool, and comfortable, so that you can sleep well without having any external disturbances to you. No TV, no cell phone, no blue light, nothing in the bedroom.
What's the ideal amount of sleep? Sometimes people get too much, sometimes people get too little. What's ideal?
Everyone has their own requirement. Few people need a little bit more, few people may be okay even on the less amount of sleep. So anywhere about 6 to 8 hours may be normal for most of the people. There are few people who may function okay when they sleep 4 to 6 hours. We call them short sleepers. So that maybe few people who may be sleeping 4 or 5 hours may still be okay. But if you are sleeping more than 8, 10 hours, then again, that is abnormal. You should not be requiring that much of sleep. But all of those things changes with age and time.
I know a lot of people have sleep apnea. It's a pretty common condition out there. Can you briefly explain some of the issues associated with that and the best remedies from your perspective?
Yes. So as you said, yes, sleep apnea is very common, and 1 in 5 male and about 1 in 6 or 7 female will have sleep apnea. But a lot of them goes undiagnosed or underdiagnosed, because people don't realize the symptoms they are having may be coming from sleep apnea. So few of the symptoms are people may just have mild difficulty kind of thinking, brain fogging or something like that, or they may also have early morning headache which goes away after a few hours, or they feel a little bit irritable throughout the day, maybe a little bit sleepy during the day. So all those may be just a telltale sign of sleep apnea, but if they go unnoticed for a long time, then you run into other problems.
Okay, we know that so many people are looking at screens, and we know that perhaps people's diet isn't the greatest when it comes to winding down, as you mentioned earlier, to get that good night's sleep, that good night rest. What are some of the key takeaways? If you had to make a bullet list of maybe 3 or 4 different things you can do right now, tonight, to have that great night's sleep, what would you do?
Okay. Again, I will say wind down time is very important. So that's when you reflect on. Some people who likes to write may even do journaling or something so that they can vent out their feeling, so that they can go to the bed relaxed. And reading books, doing something very quiet and not too exciting, not too entertaining helps. And also another thing is smoking and alcohol intake, because a lot of people think like maybe if they drink maybe a couple of glasses of wine or drink, they may feel sleepy and they may sleep better, but it works the other way, meaning your good quality sleep is taken away and you wake up not feeling rested, feeling tired, because the very important part of the sleep called the REM sleep is taken away. At the same time, if you smoke before bedtime, that is a stimulant, and that will not let you fall asleep quickly and causes more problems. So preparing the right environment, not drinking too much before the bedtime, not smoking, and having a very comfortable bed is the key to have a good sleep.
Right. Also, a cool bedroom, right? I mean, you want to make the temperatures.
Yes, cool bedroom, very comfortable. Yeah, it may be worth investing in finding a very comfortable mattress for you.
Excellent. Okay, one other thing, there's a lot of sleep aids out there. Some people might take melatonin, some people might take an Ambien, some people will, have a gummy, a CBD or something. What do you think of those 3, and do you recommend a sleep aid?
So it depends what is driving the problem. So because if it is sleep apnea, which is one of the most common problem, then those aids may not help. Because if it is sleep apnea, then we have to diagnose with the sleep study and treat you for that particular problem. But other problems, let's say people cannot fall asleep because there is misalignment with the time and everything, then on those people, melatonin may help. And the pills like Ambien, that is more for the problem, what we call insomnia. And for that one, people have difficulty initiating sleep, and Ambien may help, but that is not the best medication, because a lot of the time trying to find what is causing the problem and attacking or solving the underlying problem is the best modality.
Okay, Prahad Sharma, we appreciate your time on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Very informative, and it's something that I think so many Americans struggle with, getting a better night's sleep. And hopefully, people have been taking notes and really kind of thinking about a better night's sleep tonight through some of your recommendations. So we appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Monday morning, which will feature stormy pockets as we head through the middle and latter portion of the day. A few of the storms that are able to flare up could be a bit on the stronger side. When we take a look at our day planner, again, you'll see some scattered downpours developing as we head towards the late morning, early afternoon hours. The system will quickly move off towards the east. It's going to be a cold front that comes swinging through the area, and eventually behind the front, drier air filters in here. You see the winds coming out of the north and west eventually as the front comes swinging through. Now that we do have a risk for a few stronger storms, the SPC has part of the area underneath that level 2 risk, level 1 risk behind that, and a no risk the farther north and west that you go. But there's still a chance that we can still see a gusty storm or two, at least early on in the day. Or when I say early on, I mean as we get towards the mid portion of the morning hours as the initial band starts to move off towards the east. I'm still going to open up a time frame and call it a marginal risk across the area today, 10 to 5. On that risk, and again, our main impact will likely come from strong winds. We got storms to the north, storms to the south, a couple of downpours to the north and west of us, and we'll start to see a few sporadic downpours here and there as we head towards the late morning hours. Notice as we head towards the early afternoon, showers and storms across West Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi. Here comes the front swinging through, and that's going to help to push everything down towards the south and suppress it out of the area. We'll still have some lingering showers and thunderstorms as we head through the early evening, but very quickly after sunset, things are going to calm down. Skies clear out. We'll have some zones of fog, though, to start off early on your Tuesday morning. So don't be surprised, especially across portions of West Tennessee, North Mississippi, because, again, those will be the areas that probably see the rainfall potential. So, again, some 60s to start off the day tomorrow. We'll work our way back up through the middle 80s through the afternoon hours. Tons of sunshine and tolerable humidity levels. We'll take it. We'll run with it all day long. 60s again early on Wednesday. We'll work our way back up through the middle and upper 80s, approaching 90 in a few spots by Wednesday afternoon. Of course, we want you to stay weather aware anytime and everywhere. You can download the First Alert Weather app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Interactive radar, First Alert forecast right there in the palm of your hand, anytime and everywhere. All right, Muggy Meter comes diving south as we head through your Tuesday. That's that humidity levels coming down in the wake of our frontal boundary. Slowly, though, we'll start to add the humidity back into the fold as we head towards the middle and latter portion of the week, and eventually level off at a pretty steamy feel as we head towards the upcoming weekend. That will also lead us up to better chances for rain and storms, taking us into your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday of next week. If you're able to stay away from showers and thunderstorms, yeah, I think we're going to be in the upper 80s. If you get underneath the downpour, though, yeah, you'll probably be low to mid 80s. But at any rate, the steamy air is going to be there. That could have some impacts for your Father's Day plans. If you have plans to be out and about for Father's Day, we also have Several things going on. Jefferson Starship, as well as Kansas 38 Special. They've got a concert down in South Haven this weekend. We've got Tri-State Black Pride. That kicks off on Thursday. So again, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Some of the outward facing outdoors. So something to keep in the back of your mind if you do have weekend plans. Yet again, we do have a chance for a couple of storms moving back into the fold as we head towards your Monday afternoon. Temperatures in the 80s though. We'll go 86 to high temperature on your Tuesday. I think upper 80s close to 90 come Wednesday, Thursday as well. A couple spotty downpours on Thursday. Better chances again for the weekend. Not a washout though, but you will have to tangle with some downpours. And yes, is there a risk that we could see a strong storm embedded in that? Yeah, it's a possibility. It's not a certainty, though. We'll eventually start to see things calming down as we head towards the mid-portion of next week with brighter skies and highs nearing 90 once again by the mid-portion of next week.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Cancer rates in young women are rising at an alarming rate. Get this stat here. According to a recent report, and this is from the American Cancer Society, women under the age of 50, okay, they have an 82% higher cancer incidence rate than men. Crazy, crazy stat there. And black women have a 38% higher risk of dying from breast cancer than their counterpart. Let's bring in a couple of women here to talk about these issues right now. I'm joined by Dr. Amanda R. Hathaway and Lachey, a cancer survivor. Good morning, ladies, to you both. I appreciate you joining us on the digital desk. Dr. Hathaway, I want to begin with you. Can you expand on this study from the American Cancer Society that shows cancer rates in young women under 50 are skyrocketing? What is happening here? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. Yeah, it is alarming, and it's something that we see in trends just in the office, that ages are getting younger and younger. We do know, and what I tell my patients all the time, is that there's not one thing that makes someone develop cancer. It's kind of a potion or a soup where there's a lot of different ingredients. We know genetics play a role into it, and so when people have a strong family history, they are at higher risk. We know that lifestyle plays a role into it, and those that are more sedentary do have a higher chance of breast cancer. We know that hormones play a big role in breast cancer development, but also just our surroundings and exposures. But yes, it is very alarming that it's happening younger and younger.
I totally agree. Lachey, over to you. Tell us briefly about your experience and what exactly happened.
Yeah, so I felt a lump in my breast, and because I was an athlete my whole life and I've been strength training, I thought that it was initially some sort of muscle. But yeah, I went to my doctor immediately when I noticed that it persisted and it grew. And I got an ultrasound, a mammogram, and yes, it was breast cancer. It was stage 2B, hormone positive, HER2 negative breast cancer with a high risk of recurrence. And I was just so shocked because I was only 26 years old. And usually breast cancer is diagnosed in much older people. And so I was like, wow. And I immediately went into fight mode and I started advocating. And that's why I'm so happy that I'm partnering with Eli Lilly, because I'm able to spread this message even more and motivate more young people to just understand what's going on with their bodies and get to know their bodies so they can advocate for themselves and catch anything that may be happening early.
Well, I love that smile. Every picture we're showing of you, Lachey, you're just smiling away. I mean, to be diagnosed with cancer at 26, what an unbelievable, life-changing diagnosis. Dr. Hathaway, back over to you. So, you know, we've talked about these issues. Is there any way to be proactive where people can, you know, change, I don't know, diet habits to stave off something like this? Or is it important to just have annual exams with your pediatrician or with your doctor, your main doctor every year? I mean, is it a combination? What do you have to say to our
It's definitely
audience?
a combination of those things. And so there have been studies that show in women who are at high risk of breast cancer, an hour a day, 5 days a week of aerobic exercise cuts the risk of breast cancer development by 57%. We know people who drink excessively with alcohol are at higher risk. We know that those who live a sedentary lifestyle, so even if you're exercising but then spend the rest of your time in front of the television, there's a higher risk of that. And then we know that a lot of the foods that we eat, processed foods, refined sugars, do increase the risk of breast cancer development. But even without any of those risk factors, what I tell my patients is it's very important to know your body. So if you do recognize something abnormal, you can bring it to your doctor's attention, because the earlier we catch it, the better our outcomes are.
Good advice there. Lachey, any advice from your perspective?
Yes, I would just say, just to piggyback off what Dr. Hathaway said, you have to know your body and advocate for your own healthcare, because I found my breast cancer by doing self-breast exams. It was because I knew something was off and I acted very quickly that I was able to catch this early and have such a great outcome. Right now, I'm cancer-free, and it's just a great feeling. And so I'm very happy to be here, and I just want everyone to advocate for their health. And if you have any questions, you can head over to lilly.com. That's LILLY.com.
Okay, well, listen, ladies, we appreciate your conversation on a very important topic. Thanks for your time. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. As spring is blooming, so does allergy season. Tell me about it. It may trigger all kinds of flare-ups for millions of people, especially those living with eczema. It leads to an increase of
itchiness and inflammation and a lot of discomfort out there. Joining me right now on the digital desk to talk more about this issue is Dr. John Browning. He's Chief of Dermatology at Children's Hospital of San Antonio, and Leon Toinette, who cares for a 7-year-old daughter dealing with eczema. Good morning to you both. Dr. Browning, I want to begin with you. I understand you have children that have eczema. Talk to our audience about what exactly is it and some of the biggest challenges for some of those people out there. Good morning. I do not hear you, doctor. For some reason, I don't hear anything.
Okay.
Now I hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah, so as a pediatric dermatologist, as well as parent of 2 teens with eczema, they've had eczema since they were kids, I can definitely relate to the frustration of the constant itching, the red cracked skin, and the heartache of eczema. Believe it or not, there's 26 million Americans that suffer from atopic dermatitis or eczema, including 9.6 million kids, and there is a lot of frustration in not being able to find the right treatment. I know with my own kids, we had lots of sleepless nights and vacations that could be impacted because the eczema would flare. Joining with me now is Leon Toinette, and I've gotten to know her as well as her daughter Casey, who I've taken care of for many years, and she can relate to the frustration and the constant itching, dryness, cracked skin as well.
Yes.
Yeah, Leon Toinette, go ahead. Tell me about your 7-year-old daughter and how eczema has affected her.
Oh, absolutely. My daughter Casey is very vibrant. She's such a bright light. She enjoys swimming and musical theater and all the things associated with childhood. However, from birth to around age 5, her skin was dominated with redness, dryness, and constant itching. In its heightened state, her skin was so delicate that the lightest touch could cause her skin to break and bleed. Now, as parents, as you can imagine, her father and I had to be cautious about who could hold her and really manage with her. So it was difficult to explain as well as difficult to understand for friends and family. We would later find that Casey also has multiple allergies, anywhere from food to lotions to pollen, even some eczema treatments that were available for her age, as well as some of the known home remedies could trigger a reaction for her. Now, much like Dr. Browning's children, Casey struggled. And when you have that itching going on, it compromises the integrity of the skin's protective barrier. So we had to constantly monitor her. Now, I tried different things. I tried cool cloth. I tried special baths, but nothing seemed to help her. It was an endless, daunting struggle.
Okay, so Leon Toinette, let me ask you again. How has your daughter been able to find relief, and how do you help her kind of navigate this, not just for now, but for later in life too?
Oh, yes. Happy to answer this one. Now, after trying multiple treatments, we were introduced to the VTAMA trials by Dr. Browning and his team, which we are definitely grateful for. Since then, Casey's eczema has been a lot easier to manage. And I believe my favorite part is the quiet peacefulness of not focusing on it 24/7. But also, I didn't do this alone. I had help, and I advise everyone to get help. Talk to your doctor or dermatologist and find a treatment that works for you and your family.
Okay, and Dr. Browning, tell me more about how patients or people living with eczema can find relief, and what do you have for parents that are trying to manage eczema for their children?
Well, don't get frustrated. Eczema can be quite frustrating, but there's hope. This time of year during allergy season, we do see lots of flares, and I spent 4 years of my life in Middle Tennessee going to college, so I know about allergy season in Tennessee. But in December 2024, the FDA approved VTAMA Tapinarof Cream 1%. It's an Organon product. That's who we're here with today. And VTAMA is the first and only steroid-free cream that's approved for adults in kids ages 2 years of age and older with eczema. It can be used anywhere on the body, including the face, the sensitive areas, and there's no time restriction with it. There's also no black box warning. Of course, it is a prescription product, so I would encourage you to talk to your doctor more about it. In the trials, it was well tolerated. There were some common adverse reactions that occurred in 1% or more patients, such as lower and upper respiratory tract infections, folliculitis, headache, asthma, vomiting, ear infection, pain in the extremity, and abdominal pain. But again, overall, it was well tolerated, and we saw 46% of our patients achieve clear or almost clear skin in 8 weeks, compared to 18% of the patients that were receiving just the cream alone without any active ingredients.
Okay, Dr. John Browning and Leigh Antoinette, we appreciate your time on the Digital Desk explaining for us the problem, the solutions, and how to deal with it all. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Monday morning, which will feature stormy pockets as we head through the middle and latter portion of the day. A few of the storms that are able to flare up could be a bit on the stronger side. When we take a look at our day planner, again, you'll see some scattered downpours developing as we head towards the late morning, early afternoon hours. The system will quickly move off towards the east. It's going to be a cold front that comes swinging through the area, and eventually behind the front, drier air filters in here. You see the winds coming out of the north and west eventually as the front comes swinging through. Now that we do have a risk for a few stronger storms, the SPC and that, and a no risk the farther north and west that you go. But there's still a chance that we can still see a gusty storm or two, at least early on in the day. Or when I say early on, I mean as we get towards the mid portion of the morning hours as the initial band starts to move off towards the east. I'm still going to open up a time frame and call it a marginal risk across the area today, 10 to 5. On that risk, and again, our main impact will likely come from strong winds. We got storms to the north, storms to the south, a couple of downpours to the north and west of us, and we'll start turning hours. Notice this being towards the early afternoon. Showers and storms across West Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi. Here comes the front swinging through, and that's going to help to push everything down towards the south and suppress it out of the area. We'll still have some lingering showers and thunderstorms as we head through the early evening, but very quickly after sunset, things are going to calm down. Skies clear out. We'll have some zones of fog, though, to start off early on your Tuesday morning, so don't be surprised, especially across portions of West Tennessee, North Mississippi, because again, those will be the areas that probably see the rainfall potential. So again, some 60s to start off the day tomorrow. We'll work our way back up through the middle 80s through the afternoon hours, tons of sunshine and tolerable humidity levels. We'll take it. We'll run with it all day long. 60s again early on Wednesday. We'll work our way back up through the middle and upper 80s, approaching 90 in a few spots by Wednesday afternoon. Of course, we want you to stay weather aware anytime and everywhere. You can download the First Alert Weather app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Interactive radar, First Alert forecast right there in the palm of your hand, anytime and everywhere. All right, muggy meter comes diving south as we head through your Tuesday. That's that humidity levels coming down in the wake of our frontal boundary. Slowly, though, we'll start to add the humidity back into the fold as we head towards the middle and latter portion of the week, and eventually level off at a pretty steamy feel as we head towards the upcoming weekend. That will also lead us up to better chances for rain and storms, taking us into your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday of next week. If you're able to stay away from showers and thunderstorms, yeah, I think we're going to be in the upper 80s. If you get underneath the downpour, though, yeah, you'll probably be low to mid 80s. But at any rate, the steamy air is going to be there. That could have some impacts for your Father's Day plans. If you have plans to be out and about for Father's Day, we also have several things going on. Jefferson Starship, as well as Kansas 38 Special. They've got a concert down in South Haven this weekend. We've got Tri-State Black Pride. That kicks off on Thursday. So again, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Some of the outward facing outdoors. So something to keep in the back of your mind if you do have weekend plans yet again. We do have a chance for a couple of storms moving back into the fold as we head towards your Monday afternoon. Temperatures in the 80s though. We'll go 86 the high temperature on your Tuesday. I think upper 80s close to 90 come Wednesday, Thursday as well. A couple spotty downpours on Thursday. Better chances again for the weekend. Not a washout though, but you will have to tangle with some downpours. And yes, is there a risk that we could see a strong storm embedded in that? Yeah, it's a possibility. It's not a certainty, though. We'll eventually start to see things calming down as we head towards the mid-portion of next week with brighter skies and highs nearing 90 once again by the mid-portion of next week.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Let's talk about cholesterol for a minute. We hear about good levels of cholesterol, bad levels of cholesterol. We hear about good and bad cholesterol. Let's bring in someone to decipher what all this means and how we can lead the best healthy life possible. I'm joined right now by Dr. Anna Yang with Regional One Health. Dr. Yang, again, thank you so much for joining us on the Digital Desk. So we hear so much about good and bad cholesterol. Tell us about these two types and how we should deal with them both. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks again for having me. So yes, cholesterol can be a little bit difficult to understand. So cholesterol is something that everybody has in their body and everybody needs to have in their body. It's really important for a lot of your body's functions, making cells and some vitamins and different things. So everybody has to have cholesterol. So where cholesterol becomes a problem is when there's too much of it. So when you go to your doctor and you get your cholesterol levels tested, you usually get a whole slew of numbers called the lipid panel. And so on this lipid panel, you might find things like total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, and triglycerides. So what you hear about when people say bad cholesterol is they're generally referring to that LDL. Or the low density lipoprotein. And this is a type of cholesterol. And these are the bad cholesterols because they're responsible for narrowing your blood vessels. They're the ones that if people say, oh, you've got too much cholesterol in your arteries and they're clogging your blood flow and, you're at risk for certain things like, heart disease or strokes. That's what they're talking about is that LDL. Now, on the flip side, the HDL you actually want more of. So the HDL is, quote unquote, that good cholesterol. And the good thing about the HDL is it actually helps you remove the unwanted cholesterols from your body. So it brings cholesterol back to the liver is one of the things that it does to remove some of the cholesterols that you don't want to build up. So that's what makes it, quote unquote, the good cholesterol.
So let me ask you, because I know that these numbers have changed over time. There have been numbers where the bad cholesterol or the overall cholesterol can't exceed 200, and now that number's been reduced. Tell me where we are on the proper levels. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right.
Sure. So the most important numbers are really the LDL and the HDL. That total cholesterol number doesn't matter as much as those two, and the ratio of how much LDL versus non-LDL cholesterol that you have. The main non-LDL cholesterol is HDL, but there are other non-LDL cholesterols out there too. So the LDL cholesterol, we would like that number lower. So ideally under 100. Now, certain people who already have some medical conditions may want that number even lower, potentially even, less than 80 or 70, depending on other factors. But in general, LDL under 100 is the goal. The HDL, on the other hand, you want higher. So greater than 40 or 60 or, higher numbers are a good thing for HDL.
Okay, so I'm just thinking about my panels when I get blood work done. Sometimes they were like, okay, you got to keep your cholesterol levels under 200. Are they factoring in HDL and LDL with that?
So generally with that 200 number, they're talking about the total cholesterol number, which matters as well. But truly the LDL is the more important one that you want lower.
Okay. And what about lipoprotein little a? Because that is something that more and more people are talking about. And I'm just wondering if that is a big concern when it comes to heart disease.
Yeah, so it's a different number now that people are using to measure, and it does seem to correlate with risk factors for things like heart disease. So even though that number isn't traditionally in your typical lipid panel, sometimes doctors, again, depending on your risk factors and what other medical conditions you have, are ordering this test too as another way to measure the cholesterol levels and your risk and whether or not you need to be on potentially medication to lower your cholesterol.
Okay, and what are some of the best ways to improve our cholesterol numbers?
So non-medication wise, diet is really where you really need to monitor for your cholesterol. So the majority of the cholesterol that your body needs is already being made by your liver. So you really don't need extra cholesterol. And you get cholesterol from animal products. So these are things like meat or dairy or eggs. So you want to decrease the amount of saturated fat that you're eating. These will contribute to your LDL going up. So saturated fats, especially things that you find in these animal products. But you want to increase instead the diet of good fats. So these are your unsaturated fats. These include things like avocado fats, fats that you get from nuts or seeds or fish. So changing the ratio of where you get fat from your diet will make a big difference. For those who are overweight, even losing just 5 to 10 pounds can make a pretty good difference on your cholesterol numbers. The other thing is increasing fiber, increasing your soluble fiber intake, decreasing your overall calories. These also make a good difference with your cholesterol as well, raising the HDL and lowering the LDL.
What's the most important thing you want people to remember when it comes to cholesterol, your numbers, how to bring it down, everything that we talked about?
So the first step is to check. So the first step is to make sure you go to your doctor and you get appropriate screening. Sometimes these aren't things that you feel. Sometimes people with normal weights have elevated cholesterol without knowing it. It's not always just something you get when you're overweight or obese. So make sure you go to your doctor. We even recommend children now get screened for cholesterol because we're seeing that even children are having problems with high cholesterol. So the first step is just to make sure you go to your doctor, get screened at appropriate intervals, do what you can, to improve your own habits in your daily life. And if necessary, potentially starting medication as prescribed by your doctor to lower your risk, for heart disease, strokes, and even losing your arms or legs because you don't have, good blood flow to these parts of your body.
All right, Dr. Anna Yang, we appreciate your time as always on the Action News 5 digital desk. Very informative this morning. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Monday morning, which will feature stormy pockets as we head through the middle and latter portion of the day. A few of the storms that are able to flare up could be a bit on the stronger side. When we take a look at our day planner, again, you'll see some scattered downpours developing as we head towards the late morning, early afternoon hours. The system will quickly move off towards the east. It's going to be a cold front that comes swinging through the area, and eventually behind the front, drier air filters in here. You see the winds coming out of the north and west eventually as the front comes swinging through. Now that we do have a risk for a few stronger storms, the SPC has part of the area underneath that level 2 risk, level 1 risk behind that, and a no risk the farther north and west that you go. But there's still a chance that we can still see a gusty storm or two at least early on in the day. Or when I say early on, I mean as we get towards the mid portion of the morning hours as the initial band starts to move off towards the east. I'm still going to open up a time frame and call it a marginal risk across the area today, 10 to 5 on that risk. And again, our main impact will likely come from strong winds. We got storms to the north, storms to the south, a couple of downpours to the north and west of us, and we'll start to see a few sporadic downpours here and there as we head towards the late morning hours. Notice as we get towards the early afternoon, showers and storms across West Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi. Here comes the front swinging through, and that's going to help to push everything down towards the south and suppress it out of the area. We'll still have some lingering showers and thunderstorms as we head through the early evening, but very quickly after sunset, things are going to calm down. Skies clear out. We'll have some zones of fog, though, to start off early on your Tuesday morning, so don't be surprised, especially across portions of West Tennessee, North Mississippi, because, again, those will be the areas that probably see the rainfall potential. So, again, some 60s to start off the day tomorrow. We'll work our way back up through the middle 80s through the afternoon hours. Tons of sunshine and tolerable humidity levels. We'll take it. We'll run with it all day long. 60s again early on Wednesday. We'll work our way back up through the middle and upper 80s, approaching 90 in a few spots by Wednesday afternoon. Of course, we want you to stay weather-aware anytime and everywhere. You can download the First Alert Weather app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Interactive radar, First Alert forecast right there in the palm of your hand, anytime and everywhere. All right, Muggy Meter comes diving south as we head through your Tuesday. That's that humidity levels coming down in the wake of our frontal boundary. Slowly, though, we'll start to add the humidity back into the fold as we head towards the middle and latter portion of the week, and eventually level off at a pretty steamy feel as we head towards the upcoming weekend. That will also lead us up to better chances for rain and storms, taking us into your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday of next week. If you're able to stay away from showers and thunderstorms, yeah, I think we're going to be in the upper 80s. If you get underneath the downpour, though, yeah, you'll probably be low to mid 80s. But at any rate, the steamy air is going to be there. That could have some impacts for your Father's Day plans. If you have plans to be out and about for Father's Day, we also have several things going on. Jefferson Starship, as well as Kansas 38 Special. They've got a concert down in South Haven this weekend. We've got Tri-State Black Pride. That kicks off on Thursday. So again, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Some of the outward facing outdoors. So something to keep in the back of your mind if you do have weekend plans yet again. We do have a chance for a couple of storms moving back into the fold as we head towards your Monday afternoon. Temperatures in the 80s, though. We'll go 86 the high temperature on your Tuesday. I think upper 80s close to 90 come Wednesday, Thursday as well. A couple spotty downpours on Thursday. Better chances again for the weekend. Not a washout, though, but you will have to tangle with some downpours. And yes, is there a risk that we could see a strong storm embedded in that? Yeah, it's a possibility. It's not a certainty, though. We'll eventually start to see things calming down as we head towards the mid-portion of next week with brighter skies and highs nearing 90 once again by the mid-portion of next week.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Heart disease still remains the #1 killer of both adult men and women in the U.S., but few realize the critical role that genetics play when it comes to our heart health. Let's talk more about this discussion with someone and a couple of people who actually know a lot about this next topic. We're talking about the critical role of genetics, specifically high lipoprotein little a. I'm joined now on the digital desk by cardiologist Dr. Keith Ferdinand and Susan Riley, a Family Heart Foundation ambassador who has firsthand experience with this condition. Good morning to you both. And Susan, I'd like to begin with you. Tell me about lipoprotein little a and the high levels and how that affected you and your health. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, high LP little a impacts my family in many ways. So as a spouse, my husband had his first cardiac event in his early 40s. We didn't understand about it. We didn't know why it was happening. It was aggressive and we wanted it to stop. And then as a mom, I lost my 23-year-old daughter, Catherine, to a heart attack. And dealing with the fact I couldn't help her, I just didn't know. And then after Catherine passed, I was tested and found out that I have high LP little a as well. And so there's a whole host of emotions that go along with that diagnosis and learning to navigate through the system. So we deal with it every day in almost every way.
Oh my gosh, that is awful. And I know a little bit about it because some of my family members have high lipoprotein little a. Dr. Ferdinand, can you talk about what levels are considered dangerous with high lipoprotein little a and who should be screened for this?
Well, first of all, everyone should be screened. It's actually quite common. High LP little a is found in about 1 out of 5 or 20% of the population. Now, it depends on how the lab reports, but usually it's 125 if nanomoles and 50 if milligrams. That's a little detailed. But if you have a family history of having a heart attack, stroke that's premature, 40s, 50s, or even in the early 60s, then you may have high LP little a, which increases your risk for heart attacks and strokes. So the short answer is everyone should be checked.
Okay, and what's considered high, doctor? Like if you were to get a test, what's the elevated risk?
Well, as I mentioned, there are 2 ways it can be measured. In nanomoles, it's 125. In milligrams, it's 50. So you really need to have your clinician, your physician or nurse practitioner, help you to interpret the results of the test. You can get a test for free from the Family Heart Foundation to cholesterolconnect.org. And when you get that information, you should share it with your clinician.
Okay, and Susan, tell me about what you're doing about, overall health, and what would you like to say to others who perhaps, do a blood test, they realize that they also have high lipoprotein little a?
Yeah. So the first thing you should do is find a community who understands the disease and the impacts to your life. I found that through Family Heart Foundation, where I learned that there were things that I could do today to reduce my risk. I learned to advocate for myself and for others. They taught me how to ask the right questions and find the right doctors. And so I think everyone should do that. If you do have high LP little a, find a community that can support you in that way.
Okay, thank you, Susan. And Dr. Ferdinand, if we have high LP little a, what can we do to reduce our risk of heart disease and stroke?
Well, there's no FDA-approved treatment today for high LP little a, and there's research that's ongoing. But what it tells you, if your high LP little a is found, that you then can target those conventional risk factors, lower the LDL cholesterol, control blood pressure if you have hypertension, decrease your glucose if you have sugar, increase physical activity, and of course, no one should smoke. So having a high LP little a will tell you that you need to target those conventional risk factors, but it also will tell you that you can check your family members, especially first-degree relatives, mother, father, sister, brother, and children, because since it's genetic, they may also have high LP little a.
a fascinating discussion, and certainly more needs to be done. Where can we get information online if someone's interested in learning more about LP(a)?
The Family Heart Foundation is a nonprofit. It's a wonderful source of information, as Susan has mentioned. And you can really get a free test at cholesterolconnect.org from the Family Heart Foundation. They'll mail a kit to you. And then you can discuss those results with your clinician, whether it be a physician or nurse practitioner.
Okay, Dr. Ferdinand and Susan, we really appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you for really shedding a light on something that people might not think about when they think of heart disease. And there's 1 in 5 Americans that have this dangerous condition. We appreciate your time. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There is a new competition that is on NBC right now. It's called Destination X, and it is a bold travel competition. And a lot of those contestants are asking, where the X are we, among other things. And I want to learn more about this competition that began about a month ago on NBC. And joining me now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, one of the contestants, Peter Weber, to talk more about this show and more about what viewers can expect. Peter, good morning to you. So tell me a little bit about what you're involved in. Good morning.
Yeah, no, this was truly just the adventure of a lifetime, the ultimate game board, being able to just have a guessing game of where in the X are you, like you said, and just an incredible opportunity to kind of put your skills to the test. You know, for me, I think specifically it was such an awesome opportunity to go into, just with the nature of my career and being a pilot and the passion I have for travel. Being able to be a part of an experience like this was just the coolest thing I've ever done in my entire life, and I can't wait for everyone to watch the entire journey. Just so many awe moments, and it was truly special, and I'll never forget it.
So let me ask you this, Peter, because you know, on another network there is something called The Amazing Race, which is almost a travel competition as well. Get us into this competition. Is it similar? Is it different? What are the differences and perhaps the similarities?
It's very different. You know, what's crazy too, and I think a lot of the players, we're all looking really forward to rewatching this back, is we really only saw maybe, you know, 10, 15, 20% of the entire, what everyone's going to see. We saw such a limited portion, and it's you know, depriving you of your senses. And that's what makes it such a unique show, and something that's never been done before. You know, being able to see such limited things and never truly knowing if what you're seeing is accurate, if it's a red herring, that was just through a huge wrench in everything. It made it so much more difficult. Being able to trust people, and it has the whole gameplay aspect of, you know, betrayal, of alliances, of really just trusting your gut. And that could be a make or break for you, you know, either continuing on to the next week or going home. So I think that, you know, similarities, yeah, being able to travel the world and see a lot of incredible spots, but the competition aspect is brand new. It's never been done before. And it's just super unique, and it's just really just testing and an insane experience.
I know that you're limited on what you can say, but Peter, if you can you break down a little bit of the rules or how this competition is played out on TV?
Yeah, so essentially, every week we're going to be traveling in a bus, and this bus is fogged out, so all the windows you can't see outside. And so you're in close quarters, you're with your competition day in and day out, you're sleeping on the bus. And every city you get to, you're going to be partaking in certain challenges. And these challenges, if you win them, are going to be huge because they're going to offer you information to give you clues to understand possibly where you are. But again, those clues may not always be accurate. And so that's part of the fun of the game, is trying to really decipher what is true, what's not. The alliance building is huge in this game. And, you try to, at the end of every single week, you're going to be placing your X. You go to the map room if you're selected to go to the map room. And the person that has their X furthest away from the correct location of where you actually are in the world at that point, unfortunately gets sent home. And you try to make it to the very end for, a shot at the grand prize and the title. And just, the ultimate competition show. It's really cool, I think, for the viewers too. They're going to be able to guess along too as well, and truly play this game as if you were actually playing it in real life. But it's got everything. It's got the social aspect, the competitive aspect, the challenge aspect, and a lot of twists and turns, a little bit of luck, and just the most epically shot show I think I've ever seen.
What's the grand prize?
$250,000. So that's obviously an incredible amount of money. So that'd be incredible to win that. But I think even more than that, just the pride of being able to, season one, be able to win Destination X. That would be, I think that's the ultimate prize. But yeah, a big sum of money as well.
So tell our viewers how we can watch Destination X.
So Destination X is going to be airing on NBC on Tuesday nights, and then after that, it's going to be on Peacock, available for streaming. So yeah, be tuning in every Tuesday night, and after you can't catch that, you got it on Peacock.
Anything that surprised you that you're allowed to tell us with regards to this? You mentioned how many people are involved in this? Contestants?
So it started out with 10, and then I believe 2 have already been eliminated, and then Janae and we join in the next city that's coming up, do a little bit of a twist, throw like a wrench in the plans for I think everyone involved. So now we're back up to 10, and yeah, there can only be one winner at the end. Again, with that, it's very crucial to be working along with other people because you can't win it by yourself. And so that's also creates a really interesting dynamic too of, if you were to make it far in this game, of when do you split that? And there's obviously a lot of trust, but eventually the nature of the game, there has to be a little bit of betrayal too. So it's very lots of ups and downs and twists, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch.
Absolutely. Peter Weber, contestant on NBC's Destination X, a brand new reality competition that focuses on travel, and the grand prize, $250,000. You can see it on Tuesday nights on NBC and then Peacock streaming afterwards. Peter, thanks for coming on the Digital Desk. Best of luck to you in this competition. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Okay, another live look from our High Five camera here. Downtown Memphis already warming up here, 78 degrees at 10:15. Let's talk about your forecast in 1 minute.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Monday morning, which will feature stormy pockets as we head through the middle and latter portion of the day. A few of the storms that are able to flare up could be a bit on the stronger side. When we take a look at our day planner, again, you'll see some scattered downpours developing as we head towards the late morning, early afternoon hours. The system will quickly move off towards the east. It's going to be a cold front that comes swinging through the area, and eventually behind the front, drier air filters in here. You see the winds coming out of the north and west eventually as the front comes swinging through. Now that we do have a risk for a few stronger storms, the SPC has part of the area underneath that level 2 risk, level 1 risk behind that, and a no risk the farther north and west that you go. But there's still a chance that we can still see a gusty storm or two, at least early on in the day. Or when I say early on, I mean as we get towards the mid portion of the morning hours as the initial band starts to move off towards the east. I'm still going to open up a time frame and call it a marginal risk across the area today, 10 to 5 on that risk. And again, our main impact will likely come from strong winds. We got storms to the north, storms to the south, a couple of downpours to the north and west of us, and we'll start to see a few sporadic downpours here and there as we head towards the late morning hours. Notice this being towards the early afternoon. Showers and storms across West Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi. Here comes the front swinging through, and that's going to help to push everything down towards the south and suppress it out of the area. We'll still have some lingering showers and thunderstorms as we head through the early evening, but very quickly after sunset, things are going to calm down. Skies clear out. We'll have some zones of fog, though, to start off early on your Tuesday morning, so don't be surprised, especially across portions of West Tennessee, North Mississippi, because, again, those will be the areas that probably see the rainfall potential. So, again, some 60s to start off the day tomorrow. We'll work our way back up through the middle 80s through the afternoon hours, tons of sunshine and tolerable humidity levels. We'll take it. We'll run with it all day long. 60s again early on Wednesday. We'll work our way back up through the middle and upper 80s, approaching 90 in a few spots by Wednesday afternoon. Of course, we want you to stay weather aware anytime and everywhere. You can download the First Alert Weather app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Interactive radar, First Alert forecast right there in the palm of your hand, anytime and everywhere. All right, muggy meter comes diving south as we head through your Tuesday. That's that humidity levels coming down in the wake of our frontal boundary. Slowly, though, we'll start to add the humidity back into the fold as we head towards the middle and latter portion of the week, and eventually level off at a pretty steamy feel as we head towards the upcoming weekend. That will also lead us up to better chances for rain and storms, taking us into your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday of next week. If you're able to stay away from showers and thunderstorms, yeah, I think we're going to be in the upper 80s. If you get underneath the downpour, though, yeah, you'll probably be low to mid 80s. But at any rate, the steamy air is going to be there. That could have some impacts for your Father's Day plans. If you have plans to be out and about for Father's Day, we also have several things going on. Jefferson Starship, as well as Kansas 38 Special. They've got a concert down in South Haven this weekend. We've got Tri-State Black Pride. That kicks off on Thursday. So again, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Some of the outward facing outdoors. So something to keep in the back of your mind if you do have weekend plans. Yet again, we do have a chance for a couple of storms moving back into the fold as we head towards your Monday afternoon. Temperatures in the 80s, though. We'll go 86 to high temperature on your Tuesday. I think upper 80s close to 90 come Wednesday, Thursday as well. A couple spotty downpours on Thursday. Better chances again for the weekend. Not a washout, though, but you will have to tangle with some downpours. And yes, is there a risk that we could see a strong storm embedded in that? Yeah, it's a possibility. It's not a certainty, though. We'll eventually start to see things calming down as we head towards the mid-portion of next week with brighter skies and highs nearing 90 once again by the mid-portion of next week.
Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. I know May is almost out of here, but this has been a really crucial month, and a month that's all about dedicating the conversation to National Foster Care Month. Digital Desk. I know May is almost out of here, but this has been a really crucial month, and a month that's all about dedicating the conversation to National Foster Care Month. That's what May is, National Foster Care Month. It's a month that highlights the need for foster care homes, while also talking about additional information like who can be a foster parent and how to learn more through virtual information sessions. So I'm bringing in the expert this morning. This is Tiffany Lane joining me. She's a foster care parent development at Youth Villages. Good morning to you, Tiffany.
Good morning. Thank you.
No, thank you for joining us on the Digital Desk. As I was preparing for this interview, I read that there are more than 8,000 children in foster care across the state of Tennessee, with between 1,000 to 1,500 right here in the Mid-South area. So it's very important to have this conversation. So the first question for you is, why is the need for foster parents and homes so urgent right now?
Yes, just as you stated, currently in the state, we do have 8,000 youth in foster homes, but locally here in the Mid-South, 1,500 youth are in the need of homes. So it's so crucial for us to have these families to want to become foster parents, to open up their homes to care for these children who do need a home for various reasons.
Yeah, so when we want to get these kids in the right home, right? So let's talk about what it takes to be a foster parent. What type of qualities makes for a great foster parent?
Oh, that's a good question. So qualities, I would definitely say you have to be patient. We're looking for parents who are trustworthy, parents who are loving, parents who have the space to open their homes for children. Also having effective communication, because as we know, we're working with children who have faced so many challenges. So having that effective communication, you want our children to be seen. We want our children to be heard. We want our children to feel understood as well. You have to at least be 25 years or older to become a parent with Youth Villages, and be willing to commit to our 10 key training, which is Tennessee Key. Tennessee Knowledge Empowers You. So these trainings, they are very crucial, and they're all online for our parents to take in the comfort of their own home.
Yeah, I love that. And Tiffany, just for clarity, let me ask you, do you already have to be a parent to become a foster parent, or can you come from a single household? What does that look like?
Absolutely. You do not have to already be a parent. You can be a single parent without children. You could be a single parent with children. You can be a two-parent home. You could be a sister and brother. You could be a husband and wife. You can be any LGBTQ. You can be any parent. We just need people to have an open space and loving home for our children.
Thanks so much for breaking that down, Tiffany. Now, let's talk about it, because for some people, their excuse is, I don't know if I have the time. Talk about this process. Is this I can imagine it's probably tedious. You know, you mentioned earlier, there is a 10-week course that you have to take. What does that process look like?
Yes, so the training is actually 5 weeks. So 5 weeks of virtual training in the comfort of your own home. We teach the Tennessee Key training, which is mandated by Department of Children's Services. You will go through a CPR and certification training, and then additional policy and procedure trainings. The trainings are 5 weeks. After the training, your certification specialist would conduct what we call a home study. They will come out to the home and inspect your home to ensure that it meets all compliance standards to be approved by the state. And from there, you're certified as a parent. After a few signatures on the home study, you're signed off and you're sent off and approved.
Just like that. And see, I said 10 weeks. It's 5 weeks, so that's even better. You know, Tiffany, there will probably be families who are watching us right now, right? And they're conflicted. They don't know, you know, if this is the route they should take. What advice do you give to those families who are contemplating if they want to become a foster parent?
Yes, absolutely. If this is something you really want to do, go for it. Your first step would be an informational meeting, and we have them year-round online. Just go for it. Youth Villages, we provide ongoing service and support to individuals. I'm a mother of 3. I have 2 twin boys, and I have an 8-year-old. No, they're not foster children. However, parenting children is very tough and very challenging, but I always say stick to your support. In Youth Villages, we provide that support. We have ongoing 24/7 services that parents can call. Our recruiters, our trainers, they're already ready to be available and present to offer that support. I would always encourage people just to start by attending an informational meeting, gathering the information, and if you have questions, reach out to us. We're always available.
Oh, Tiffany, you're a busy woman, twins. Oh, wow. Let's talk a little bit about, with you working hands-on with youth villages and parents and families, can you share any success stories that could probably, really speak to someone's spirit about the impact you can have on the community by becoming a foster parent?
Yes, I can think of one of our parents now. She is currently a foster parent trainer. She started out very hesitant about the process, unsure if she wanted to be a parent, and she started out as what we call as a respite parent. Respite parents aren't full-time foster parents. They start off maybe just giving a full-time parent a break over the weekend for a couple of days. So she started out as a respite parent, got her feet wet a little bit, and then she eventually moved towards taking sibling groups and some of our teenagers. I thought this was very impactful because she initially was hesitant. She was scared to do the process, and then over time, she started taking more and more of our children, and now she's actually one of our foster parent trainers. And a foster parent trainer is an actual certified parent who co-leads the trainings with our certified training staff.
Oh, wow. Talk about full circle moment there. Tell me,
Yes.
we're talking a lot about, parents and how to get involved, but what has been the reaction from some of the kids who actually, they finally find a home? I can imagine that this is, an emotional and exciting perspective for them. So based on what you've experienced, what has been the children's reaction?
Absolutely, definitely emotional. Very, I would say, a deep dive into just reality of knowing this is my forever family. This is who's going to be the person that's going to see me take my first steps. This is going to be the person to see me my first job interview. This is the family that's going to take me to my first job interview, first prom, first date, so it's very emotional for our children, but it's a good feeling for both the children and the families. The children, they're excited. They're ready for a new journey. They're about to embark on a new journey with this forever family. So it's a good feeling for our kids. They're truly excited, happy, emotional. Some cry. I have seen some of them, in tears, but it's tears of joy because this is something that they have been yearning for a very long time.
Tears of joy. I love how you put that, Tiffany. Well, we mentioned that May is National Foster Care Month, but we want to keep this conversation going year round, not just in May. So if someone wants to learn more, they want additional information, they don't want to make a decision today, they want to think on it, pray on it, where can we direct them so that they can get that additional information that they need?
Yes, so you can go to our website, youthvillages.org/foster, or you can call our 1-800 number. It's 1-888-MY-YV-KID. 1-888-MY-YV-KID.
All right, that's Tiffany Lane, the foster care parent development at Youth Villages. Tiffany, was there anything that you were prepared to say or you want to say that I did not ask you today?
I just want families out there to really understand that the need is great. There are several misconceptions about fostering, and one is our teenagers. We do have a great need for our teenagers to be placed in foster homes, and a lot of our teenagers, a lot of people have the misconception that they don't listen or whatnot. However, these teenagers, they just need the support, the guidance, the love, the care to have a forever family. They're very independent. They just want to be able to be loved and treated as, just a normal child. And I think it's very important for families to know our greatest need is teenagers and sibling groups if you're considering to foster.
Yeah, I like how you put that. We can really end it on that note. Every kid, no matter their age, needs a forever home. And you at home, if you're watching, you can make a difference. You can be a part of that difference. Again, this is Tiffany Lane joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Thanks so much for talking with us and enlightening us and giving us that additional information that we need on how we can help the kids right here in our community. Tiffany Lane, thanks once again.
Thank you.
All right.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We always love celebrating Memphians that are doing amazing things everywhere and on the national stage, on a regional stage, international stage, what have you. And joining me on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I am joined by Dr. Martin McCain. He is a faculty member from the Rudy E. Scheidt School of Music at the University of Memphis. Go Tigers go, by the way. And he is a trombonist on the Disney soundtrack for the Lilo and Stitch remake that's out in theaters right now. Martin, great to meet you. So first off, tell me a little bit about yourself. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm a musician. As you said, I teach at the University of Memphis. I grew up in Memphis in Whitehaven. And outside of teaching college students, I'm a member of the Count Basie Orchestra. If you go to the musicals at the Orpheum, the trombonist of the Orpheum Theater. And so I get to perform in a lot of different genres and get to teach wonderful next generation of musicians.
So tell me about getting this opportunity. How does it come about where, you have this remake, it's a big movie, it was a big TV show back in the day. It is now in theaters, and you're a trombonist, you're on the soundtrack. How does that all happen?
Well, it's a funny thing. Like when you're a recording artist and you're a studio musician, sometimes you show up to the recording studio and you have no idea who you're recording for. And that was the same situation here with Royal Studio. We were told that Bruno Mars was going to have a part of this project, but we had no idea it was for a Disney film. And so we went into the studio, we recorded Burning Love, and really did not know what it was going to come of. And then I didn't find out until a month later when I received the check. I just did a little bit of research and I saw that this was going to be a part of the new Disney movie. So that's an interesting story how I found out.
That's fantastic, and I'm sure it was nice to see the check and everything associated with that. So so tell me, if people go and see this movie in the theaters, are they going to be able to know which song? And you're a trombonist, so how are they going to be able to pick you out, or at least the song that you're a part of? How about that?
Yeah, so one great thing that this movie is doing, from even the original that came out in 2002, there's a lot of Elvis music in this movie, which is, very iconic with Memphis. But the one track that we recorded at Royal Studio is Burning Love, which is towards the end of the movie. And so, yeah, this is a really nice one because actually Bruno Mars' nephews are singing this, and then we are the horn section in the background.
Fantastic. That is awesome. So, so tell me about people's reaction, family members, friends, to you being on this soundtrack and Burning Love, as you mentioned. Elvis Presley, here we go.
Absolutely. Well, especially in my family, a lot of my family members are huge Disney fans, and my sister goes to Disney World at least 3 times a year. So everybody was extremely excited. I've been on a few different soundtracks before, but never Disney. So that's definitely a special thing for me.
I would think so. So tell me what you do at the University of Memphis. Are you a professor? What do you teach?
Yeah, so I'm the trombone professor. So I teach students from freshmen all the way to doctoral students and students who want to be performers or future band directors, educators. And so it's fantastic. I get to work with around 20 trombone students each week. And yeah, we have a really beautiful thing going on at the Scheidt School of Music, especially in our brand new Performing Arts Center.
Yeah, that's fantastic. A great situation all around. Anything else you want to share with our audience? We have thousands of people that watch each and every morning here on the Digital Desk. And not only are they love to celebrate University of Memphis, Memphis Tigers, and a Memphian doing extraordinary things on an international level. Anything else we can talk about, Martin?
Well, I would just say, please go see the movie. I just read last night that the movie is still #1 on the charts, and it's been out for 2 weeks now. So that's amazing, with all the great movies that usually come out during the summer season. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check out the movie.
Yeah, and this is a remake of the kids program back in the late '90s. Is it?
The first Lilo and Stitch came out in 2002, and then there was a sequel, and then it became a TV series as well.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. Appreciate you setting me that straight. Well, listen, Dr. Martin McCain joining us on the digital desk on the soundtrack for the Disney movie Lilo and Stitch, the remake, Burning Love. At the very end, there you will hear him and his trombonist, and his trombone rather. Fantastic stuff. Congratulations once again, and thanks for all the hard work you do at the University of Memphis to inspire other students to do the same. We appreciate your time.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers, go. Absolutely. Love that. All right. Another live look from our High Five camera here. Here in Midtown Memphis, downtown Memphis, as you can see. It is warm already here in Memphis. It is a balmy 78 degrees. We are expecting some showers on the way. Let's get a check of that forecast right now with meteorologist Patrick Ellis.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Monday morning, which will feature stormy pockets as we head through the middle and latter portion of the day. A few of the storms that are able to flare up could be a bit on the stronger side. When we take a look at our day planner, again, you'll see some scattered downpours developing as we head towards the late morning, early afternoon hours. The system will quickly move off towards the east. It's going to be a cold front that comes swinging through the area, and eventually behind the front, drier air filters in here. You see the winds coming out of the north and west eventually as the front comes swinging through. Now that we do have a risk for a few stronger storms, the SPC has part of the area underneath at level 2 risk, level 1 risk behind that, and a no risk the farther north and west that you go. But there's still a chance that we can still see a gusty storm or two, at least early on in the day. Or when I say early on, I mean as we get towards the mid portion of the morning hours as the initial band starts to move off towards the east. I'm still going to open up a time frame and call it a marginal risk across the area today, 10 to 5. On that risk, and again, our main impact will likely come from strong winds. We got storms to the north, storms to the south, a couple of downpours to the north and west of us, and we'll start to see a few sporadic downpours here and there as we head towards the late morning hours. Notice as we head towards the early afternoon, showers and storms across West Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi. Here comes the front swinging through, and that's going to help to push everything down towards the south and suppress it out of the area. We'll still have some lingering showers and thunderstorms as we head through the early evening, but very quickly after sunset, things are going to calm down. Skies clear out. We'll have some zones of fog, though, to start off early on your Tuesday morning. So don't be surprised, especially across portions of West Tennessee, North Mississippi, because, again, those will be the areas that probably see the rainfall potential. So, again, some 60s to start off the day tomorrow. We'll work our way back up through the middle 80s through the afternoon hours. Tons of sunshine and tolerable humidity levels. We'll take it. We'll run with it all day long. 60s again early on Wednesday. We'll work our way back up through the middle and upper 80s, approaching 90 in a few spots by Wednesday afternoon. Of course, we want you to stay weather aware anytime and everywhere. You can download the First Alert Weather app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Interactive radar, First Alert forecast right there in the palm of your hand, anytime and everywhere. All right, muggy meter comes diving south as we head through your Tuesday. That's that humidity levels coming down in the wake of our frontal boundary. Slowly, though, we'll start to add the humidity back into the fold as we head towards the middle and latter portion of the week, and eventually level off at a pretty steamy feel as we head towards the upcoming weekend. That will also lead us up to better chances for rain and storms, taking us into your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday of next week. If you're able to stay away from showers and thunderstorms, yeah, I think we're going to be in the upper 80s. If you get underneath the downpour, though, yeah, you'll probably be low to mid 80s. But at any rate, the steamy air is going to be there. That could have some impacts for your Father's Day plans. If you have plans to be out and about for Father's Day, we also have several things going on. Jefferson Starship, as well as Kansas 38 Special. They've got a concert down in South Haven this weekend. We've got Tri-State Black Pride. That kicks off on Thursday. So again, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Some of the outward facing outdoors. So something to keep in the back of your mind if you do have weekend plans. Yet again, we do have a chance for a couple of storms moving back into the fold as we head towards your Monday afternoon. Temperatures in the 80s though. We'll go 86 the high temperature on your Tuesday. I think upper 80s close to 90 come Wednesday, Thursday as well. A couple spotty downpours on Thursday. Better chances again for the weekend. Not a washout though, but you will have to tangle with some downpours. And yes, is there a risk that we could see a strong storm embedded in that? Yeah, it's a possibility. It's not a certainty, though. We'll eventually start to see things calming down as we head towards the mid-portion of next week with brighter skies and highs nearing 90 once again by the mid-portion of next week.
Our good friend Shelby Smith joining us on the Action News 5 digital desk, our BFF, as we like to say. Shelby, nice to see you once again. Several weeks ago, we had a conversation, and you were talking about this playlist that you guys had put together on Overton Park Shell about some of the bands coming into Memphis and the Mid-South. And this playlist I've been listening to in my car, and one of the bands that I listened to, and I was like, wow, these guys are really good. And they took over Sirius XM channel 28, the Spectrum, for like a weekend. And it was this Eddie 9-volt who's going to be at Overton Park Shell on Thursday. Tell me more. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so excited that you're utilizing our playlist. I love to hear that. Make sure to keep doing that and tell your friends too as well, because we're still rocking and rolling here at the Overton Park Shell. We've got, I think, three weeks left in our Orion Financial Free Concert Series. So if you haven't made your way to the lawn, definitely do so soon. But like you said, Eddie 9-volt is kicking us off on Thursday. A Georgia-born or emerged band. They kind of blend a bit of Southern soul, like rock and roll, blues, funk. They're kind of like a microcosm of different genres, but we are so excited that not only you got to kind of get to know them through the playlist, but we're hoping that people are excited to gather on Thursday here at the lawn as he kicks off our shows for the weekend. It's going to be we have 2 other shows on Saturday and Sunday, or not Saturday and Sunday, excuse me, Friday and Saturday. We've got Ish Nasgrass. Their name kind of gives you an idea of where they come from and what they're bringing to the table. Based out of Nashville, Bluegrass, they actually took home the International Bluegrass Music Association's Best Award for up-and-coming Best New Artists. So super stoked that they get to bring their talents to the Overton Park Shell. And then we're ending things off with a banger, the Bodines legendary rock band from 1986. They got their start out of Waukesha, Wisconsin. And again, alternative classic rock. They are legendary. They are actually a part of the, I believe, the, what is it called? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How am I blanking on that name? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's Midwest permanent exhibit. So super stoked to bring such legendary acts to continue this season with us.
Yeah, it's a very diverse group, and I would recommend to anybody out there, if they want to check out a free show and you want to see who's coming to the Overton Park Shell, just go to Spotify or any music platform and just put in Overton Park Shell, and you will see the playlist. And it's a great playlist to just kind of listen to and see what you like and check out all these bands that are coming in. And I love just these 3 bands. They are very different from one another, but they all put out great music. I love that, Shelby.
And again, we really do, it is very integral within our programming to prioritize diversity when it comes to booking. So we love that our artists do reflect the different communities that tend to come to our lawn. And all we ask for people or patrons that want to come and experience what we are bringing to the table at the Overton Park Shell is to enter with an open mind. You might not know the genres, you might not know the artist, but guess what? You're going to leave having a great time because it's a chance for you to fellowship with your fellow Memphians and enjoy some free music while you're at it.
No question about it. I love it and looking forward to it. Anything else you want to mention before we let you go?
Like I said, we only have 3 weeks left of our Ryan Financial Free Concert Series before we take a break. It gets a little too hot to continue the series throughout June, the rest of June and July. But like I said, we'll be back in the fall, but definitely make sure to join us on the lawn before we take a little break, and make sure to check out all of our other programming. We're actually in partnership with Memphis Travel to host Blues Tuesdays from here on out. They are celebrating 100 days of blues leading up to B.B. King's birthday party in September. And so come check out our tour. Our blues musicians from past and present, they really do leave a stamp on the legacy that we have at the Overton Park Shell. So throughout that tour, you'll get to know some of the heavy hitters that have joined us on the stage, and you'll get to know the amazing crop of talented artists that have taken the stage throughout history. So we've got plenty for people to enjoy here at the Overton Park Shell, and we're just excited for people to come and join us. So you can check out all this information at overtonparkshell.org, and we hope to see you soon.
That sounds great. Shelby Smith, we always appreciate you coming on the Digital Desk and letting us know about all these fantastic events happening with Overton Park Shell and Shell on Wheels. We appreciate you and the entire staff at Overton Park Shell. Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon.
All right, welcome back in. We're going to try it all over again. We have Dr. Travis Webb standing by with us, keeping us in the know about how to stay safe during the summer when we're dealing with fire. Dr. Travis Webb, thanks so much for your patience and for joining us on the Digital Desk.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's just jump right into it, because for many people, they've already rolled out the grills in their pits. What's the first thing they should know when it comes to fire safety when they are working around their grills and pits?
Well, first off, you want to make sure that you're using an outdoor grill outdoors. So when I say outdoors, I'm really talking about keeping an outdoor grill away from structures, away from the house, or the tool shed, or wherever you may have this, at least 10 feet away from those structures. You also want to make sure that you're grilling out from underneath any overhangs or eaves, so that and overhanging branches, so that something doesn't unintentionally catch fire. Now, if you are just starting the process for the summer season, you want to make sure that you've checked your system, if it's a propane or natural gas type of grill. Check it for leaks. Make sure that you don't have any kind of leaky connections, and you can do that pretty easily just using a little bit of a water mixture with dish detergent, turning on the propane tank and looking for bubbles. And obviously, if you have bubbles, do not continue the process. Those gas leaks can cause significant flames and burns and explosions that you don't want to be a part of. Now, always keep your grill clean. Make sure that before you use it and after you use it, you've cleaned off excess grease and fat. And certainly, if this is your first time opening up the grill, take a look under the hood and make sure that you don't have some sort of house guest, if you will, rodents or any kind of nests or leaves that have been built up that could then combust and lead to problems. Yeah. Finally, making sure that you have spray bottles and a fire extinguisher somewhere nearby is going to be very important. When you're opening up or when you're starting to use that gas grill, make sure that you're always opening the lid to start it, so you don't end up with a buildup of natural gas or propane that could lead to an explosion. Other common sense things: keep children and pets at least 3 feet away from your grills, and never leave that grill unattended. Finally, remember that even though it's summertime and we're having a good time, limit your use of alcohol and other mind-altering substances when around flames and hot surfaces. Unintentional touching of these things or getting too close when you're just not thinking about it leads to significant injury.
Dr. Webb, that's great advice there. You mentioned earlier, for those people as maybe it's their first time actually dealing with a grill, it sounds crazy to ask, but I have to ask, what should you do if your clothing catches fire? I mean, I've heard stories of that happening, so it could happen. So what advice do you have there?
Well, it's the old adage, stop, drop, and roll. So if your clothes catch fire, you want to try to smother those flames out as quick as possible. So stop, drop, and roll is something to keep in your mind, teach your kids. Obviously, if you have a fire blanket around, which probably most of us don't, but if you had something to smother the flames, that's what you really want to do as quickly as possible.
And everyone knows stop, drop, and roll. That's the easy go-to, Dr. Webb. I'm glad you mentioned that. Also, let's talk a bit about, burns and what makes them so dangerous, and how do you know or how can you determine when you need medical attention?
Well, burns are as you said, they're dangerous, and most minor burns will heal on their own within just a couple weeks. They may require some topical pain sprays or ointments at home, but you can usually treat the minor burns at home. Now, obviously, I do want to just make sure that everybody thinks about this. If you do get burned, don't dunk your hand into to an icy bath of water. That can actually worsen the injury. So just apply cool water. So running cool tap water is just fine. Do that for 3 to 5 minutes. Not so obviously, but always remember, just get all of the clothing and jewelry off. So that if those things are still hot, they are not leading to ongoing injury to the tissue and the skin. One of the things to remember is that if you do end up with a burn that's basically larger than the palm of your hand, you do need to go seek medical attention. Deep burns that lead to kind of a charring or a white appearance of the skin, those should be seen by a healthcare professional. Burns to the face, the neck, hands, feet, joints, or genitalia all need to be evaluated by medical professionals as well. And obviously, if you have even a small burn and you have other medical conditions such as diabetes or other cancer, heart and lung disease, things that alter your immune system, you want to be very careful and cautious, because the concern with burns is that infection is a very common outcome. So seek medical advice when in doubt.
Dr. Webb, this is a lot of information to consume for those who want to learn more. They want to educate themselves about fire safety, because as we said, summer is just around the corner. So a lot of people will be dealing with their grills or their pits or just surrounding fire. What is the main takeaway you want them to take away from this conversation?
Well, the main takeaway is treat fires with respect and caution. Always keep fires attended and fully extinguish them before leaving. Open flames are a leading cause of home fires and wildfires, and cooking actually is one of the most common causes for burn injuries. So be careful.
All righty, great. Is there a website, or where can people find additional information about summer safety?
You can look at Regional One Health.org, or you can go to the U.S. Fire Administration, or obviously Google can give you a lot of great information out there.
All righty, that's Dr. Travis Webb, keeping us in the know and giving us some helpful tips and information about fire safety as we approach the summer season. So thanks again for joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, and we look forward to chatting with you again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Monday morning, which will feature stormy pockets as we head through the middle and latter portion of the day. A few of the storms that are able to flare up could be a bit on the stronger side. When we take a look at our day planner, again, you'll see some scattered downpours developing as we head towards the late morning, early afternoon hours. The system will quickly move off towards the east. It's going to be a cold front that comes swinging through the area, and eventually behind the front, drier air filters in here. You see the winds coming out of the north and west eventually as the front comes swinging through. Now that we do do have a risk for a few stronger storms. The SPC has part of the area underneath a level 2 risk, level 1 risk behind that, and a no risk the farther north and west that you go. But there's still a chance that we can still see a gusty storm or two, at least early on in the day. Or when I say early on, I mean as we get towards the mid portion of the morning hours as the initial band starts to move off towards the east. I'm still going to open up a time frame and call it a marginal risk across the area today, 10 to 5 on that risk. And again, our main impact will likely come from strong winds. We got storms to the north, storms to the south, a couple of downpours to the north and west of us, and we'll start to see a few sporadic downpours here and there as we head towards the late morning hours. Notice this being towards the early afternoon. Showers and storms across West Tennessee, northeastern Mississippi. Here comes the front swinging through, and that's going to help to push everything down towards the south and suppress it out of the area. We'll still have some lingering showers and thunderstorms as we head through the early evening, but very quickly after sunset, things are going to calm down. Skies clear out. We'll have some zones of fog, though, to start off early on your Tuesday morning, so don't be surprised, especially across portions of West Tennessee, North Mississippi, because, again, those will be the areas that probably see the rainfall potential. So, again, some 60s to start off the day tomorrow. We'll work our way back up through the middle 80s through the afternoon hours, tons of sunshine and tolerable humidity levels. We'll take it. We'll run with it all day long. 60s again early on Wednesday. We'll work our way back up through the middle and upper 80s, approaching 90 in a few spots by Wednesday afternoon. Of course, we want you to stay weather aware anytime and everywhere. You can download the First Alert Weather app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Interactive radar.